snow off the field, if not out of the rock pile. Temperature 28 degrees, but the sun is shining as we get set for today's game. Jamie Wright getting the start for the Rockies. Wright saying cold. What cold? Not even a sweatshirt on underneath the jersey for the starter for the Rockies. Let's take a look at the lineup that he'll face for the Expos, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. And leading off their shortstop, Mark Grzelcyk. Grzelcyk and Lansing at the top of the order, a combined 5 for 23 in the recent series in Montreal against Colorado. Rondell White off to a great start, hitting almost 500. David Segui has been moved up to the cleanup spot, followed by Henry Rodriguez. Fletcher is behind the plate, Santangelo and right. Andrews moves down to the number 8 spot in the order. He is in a hitting slump, hitting just .217, although he does have a home run this year against Colorado. But how about Jamie Wright?
6'5", 203, just 22 years old. Jamie, you should have a sweatshirt on. Trust me, pal. Number 1 draft choice of the Rockies back in 1993. Good sinking fastball, good slider, working on a change. He will go after the Expos this afternoon.
The defense then behind Jamie Wright, brought to you by Coca-Cola. In the outfield, it's Bichette and Walker in left and right. Burke's back in there in center field. White's back in at shortstop. Vinny Castillo, the third baseman. Young and Galarraga on the right side. And the battery of Manwaring in right. So as Dave pointed out, the couple of unscheduled off days have gotten the Rockies somewhat healthy. The guys are ready to go here, and Mark Grzelcyk stepping in. You see his average. Last year he started off so hot for Montreal, but not this year. And against Jamie Wright, he's just 1 for 8 in his career. The first pitch from Wright, a fastball in there for a strike. Our home plate umpire is Charlie Williams. Steve Ripley calling the plays at first base. Mark Hirschbeck is at second, and Bruce Fremming is at third. Second pitch up the middle, ground ball, speared by Young. The throw to first, in time! What a play by Ely!
I'll tell you what, on a day like this, it's so tough, but obviously EY did the good flexibility exercises before he came out, because he ranged far up the middle, and backhands, and the off-balance throw is on target. Great play by Eric Young to begin this one.
So 1 gone. Eric Young with some solid defense. That's another thing the Rockies have been doing well through this winning streak. Just 5 errors so far this year for the Rockies. Now Mike Lansing.
Anytime you put together a 6-game winning streak or longer, you can pretty much bet it's a combination of all 3 elements of the game, and that's pitching, defense, and hitting, and also throw in some speed, stolen bases, and the Rockies have been clicking on all cylinders.
Swing and a foul. 1-1 the count to Lansing. The Expos, on the other hand, have lost 4 in a row, including that sweep by Colorado last weekend. So Felipe Alou still 4 shy of 400 career wins.
You know, the Rockies have been off 3 of the last 4 days, but the Expos have missed 3 days in a row, so hadn't helped them either.
They had a scheduled off day on Wednesday, and then were snowed out in St. Louis. A little squiver up through the middle. EY barehands it, throw to first. Another good play for Eric Young. Well, he's a football player, Dave, and he likes this kind of weather.
And I tell you, and if you're Mike Lansing, you do not want to get jammed on a day like this. He had the bat sawed off in his hand. Eric Young, the only way he can make this play is barehanded, and he does it. So EY is off with a bang here today, and he lands on that sore right hip.
Dave, you grew up in Michigan. I'm sure you played in a lot of cold weather. What's that feel like to get one in on your hands on a day like today?
You're going to be thinking about that. Your hands are going to be ringing. Right now, Mike Lansing's probably got a hot water bottle in his hands, and he's hoping Rondell White stays up there for a while so he can get the bees out of his hands right now. He got sawed off.
He did. Rondell White, you see his numbers on the year. He is really the lone Expo, is off to a very fast start. Segui batting pretty well, 320 for average. But Henry Rodriguez has been disappointing. So too is Shane Andrews, and of course we already outlined Grzelcyk and Lansing.
If you're a right-handed batter, the last kind of guy you want to see today is somebody like Jamie Wright, or especially Kevin Brown of Florida, with that hard sinking fastball in on your hands.
The 1-1 pitch in the dirt. Good block by Manwaring, and it's 2-1. A lot of postponements and delays again in baseball today.
Yeah, the Dodgers in Pittsburgh postponed. Atlanta, Chicago delayed. Greg Maddux is scheduled to pitch in that one. They were postponed in Cleveland, Detroit, Baltimore, and New York today, and Milwaukee.
Good change that time from Wright. And 2-2 now. Well, you talked about Maddox going today against the Cubs. Chicago, Dave, still looking there for their first win. They're 0-8.
Weatherman has won 7 today, and 1 game is delayed. 7 postponements already.
Ooh. And this one not being played in exactly balmy conditions.
Well, it's kind of unusual. A week ago, the weather was pretty favorable in Colorado. They tried to go with that warm weather schedule, and obviously it helped in Boston because opening day they had about 2 feet of snow in Boston, but this pattern going across the U.S. right now is going to take a couple of days for it to clear out.
Hands on hand, dressing like it's a Broncos game. Swing and a miss. Down goes White. 2 good plays by Eric Young, and the Expos go in order. To the bottom of the inning we go. The Rockies coming to bat. No score.
My office. This is my office where I do everything. It's Audrey. Will you tell him that Audrey called? Audrey? Yes. Don't change, like, please don't change. David Rosen available. I'm sorry, he just left to go to a meeting. I'm like 15 minutes away. When will he be back? I wish you could just, like, talk into the phone and it would dial.
For one-to-one loan solutions, call us. Think one-to-one.
At Deal & Doug, Centennial Chrysler Plymouth, and Colorado Chrysler Plymouth, we're Denver's best double play. That means double the Deal & Doug deals on new Chryslers and Plymouth. Even double rebates up to $6,000, or brand new Sebring convertibles as low as $19,688. 97 Voyagers, America's best-selling minivans, only $16,988. Neons, $94.99, and major league sale prices on Plymouth Breeze, Chrysler Cirrus, and LHS. See us now, Deal & Doug's Colorado Chrysler Plymouth or Centennial Chrysler Plymouth. We're ready to play ball.
No score as we head to the bottom half of the first inning. Jim Bollinger getting the start for the Expos today. The Rockies beat him last Sunday 6-2. The lineup he'll face, brought to you by the Rocky Mountain News. Eric Young has hit 2 home runs off Bollinger in his career. Ellis Burks has hit 400 off Bollinger. He's back in there in center field. Larry Walker, well, what has he done for us lately? How about a .471 average and 6 home runs to lead the way in the National League? Galarraga's hot. He's hitting close to 400. So too is Bichette. Vinny Castilla already has 4 home runs. Manwaring behind the plate. Walt Weiss at short, and Wright batting 5th. Tell us more about Bollinger.
Former Cub, picked up as a free agent by the Expos, signed to play professionally as a shortstop, so he's a good fielding pitcher and he's a pretty decent hitter. Fastball, curveball, changeup. He needs the curveball to be effective against the Rockies.
Eric Young's had another good homestand as he strides to the plate. 2 for 6 Wednesday with a run scored and an RBI. And in the home opener on Monday, he was on base 5 times. Went 3 for 4 with a double, a pair of walks, and 3 runs scored.
One thing for Ewai, every time he goes out in the top of the first inning, if he knows he makes a good play, he's always going to be the guy leading off the next inning. This guy made the 2 good plays, leads off.
Oh, boy. Down too low, 2-0.
Talked about Jamie Wright not making his guys stay out there very long. An 11-pitch inning thanks to Eric Young, and that's going to be a real key. And once again, the Rockies keep the opposition off the board for the 7th consecutive game in the first inning.
Down too low, 3-0. Bollinger having trouble locating home plate. Well, Bollinger, as we mentioned in his last start, roughed up by the Rockies. He pitched 5 innings, giving up 5 runs, all earned on 8 hits. Down too low, and Young walks on 4 pitches. The defense for the Montreal Expos today, brought to you by Coca-Cola. In the outfield, it's Rodriguez and F.P. Santangelo in left and right. Rondell White, boy, this is the scene of the crime for him, where he made that spectacular catch off the bat of Larry Walker and then hurt his spleen last year. Andrews and Segui at 3rd and 1st. And the double play combination of Grzelcyk and Lansing, the battery of Fletcher and Bollinger. Ellis Burks the batter. Burks with home runs in his last 2 at-bats. Good news, bad news this year for Ellis Burks. The bad news first. He has just 4 hits in 26 at-bats. The good news is all 4 of those hits are home runs. Has got the home run swing down. He said the last 2 times up against Cincinnati on Wednesday, all he was trying to do was drive the ball up the middle. He did, and out over the center field wall. That was into a pretty stiff breeze. Thankfully, the wind's kind of calm today. There's the first strike from Bollinger.
One of the keys for Ellis next couple of weeks until that wrist gets totally healthy is to try to avoid the check swings. That's when he has problems. That's how he hurt it originally. He started to go, tried to hold up, and you could really see he was in pain. That was in Montreal.
Young with a decent lead, being driven back to the bag. Well, they're underway now in Chicago. A second inning, no score, the Braves and the Cubs.
How'd you like to be 0-8 and get to face Greg Maddux
No,
on a
thanks.
cold day? Wow.
And Don Baylor's hoping the Cubs can win at least one game over the weekend against the Braves, so when the Rockies play them next week in Chicago, they aren't still winless.
Fans naturally a little restless with the cold temperatures, going, come on, throw the ball to the plate, Jim. But Bollinger's got to try to keep EY close.
This is a terrific crowd on hand here today, especially considering the weather conditions. It's officially a sellout. All tickets have been sold, and I would say 25 to 30,000 have showed up for the contest.
Well, we think last week in Chicago, and the White Sox drew 746 with Roger Clemens pitching, and yesterday in Detroit, they said they were lucky to have 1,000, so I agree with you.
It was Jim Armstrong, the columnist, who said, when is Roger Clemens last pitched with 746 on hand? It's probably in high school.
Yeah, Katy High in Houston, Texas.
The 0-1 pitch bunted up in the air, no play for Fletcher, and it's quickly 2 strikes on Ellis Burks.
Good idea. He had Shane Andrews playing back a couple of steps at third base, and you can get it down on a day like this and get men on first and second for Walker. You're off to a good start.
And in that game in Chicago, I think the tickets were all $5 apiece, and they only drew 740.
Yeah, well, they switched it from a night game to a day game because they knew they were going to have terrible weather, but 746. Not too good on the south side.
Final in from Fenway. Seattle wins 5-1. Mariners have now won 4 in a row.
They got 4 in the 10th inning to do that.
Yeah, EY, not a very big lead, but Bollinger rather tentative here in the first inning. He has seen what the Rockies have done on this homestand, scoring 5 in one game in the first and 4 in the next, and 13 overall in each game with 19 hits in each game on this homestand. Ripped into left field for a base hit. Young will stop at second. The Rockies have something cooking. First and second, nobody out, and Larry Walker coming to the plate. Montreal with vivid memories of what Larry Walker did to them last Saturday, a week ago. That's home run number 1 at Parco Olympique. There's number 2, and walk wasn't through yet. Number 33 hit his 3rd of the day, a 6 on the year, none at home yet. So Larry Walker coming to the plate with runners at first and second and nobody out.
Amazing thing with the Rockies just playing 2 games this week so far. Larry's still leading in home runs and RBIs, tied for the lead in hits, leads in total bases, extra base hits, but the Rockies haven't been able to get to the post much this week.
Inside, ball 1. Walker, in case you think, well, he hasn't done much on this homestand, think again. He has continued to be red hot, if not with the long ball. Walk went 3 for 5 Wednesday with a pair of runs scored. There goes Eric Young breaking for third. The throw not in time. Ellis Burks missed a sign. He stayed at first base. Either that or there was no sign, and EY just went on his own.
Yeah, Ellis kind of snapped his fingers like, ooh, my fault. I should have been looking. Kind of a calculated risk for Eric Young with a left-handed batter up. Easy throw for that third baseman, but Eric had such a tremendous jump. You saw Larry Walker just back out. He saw the jump EY had.
So now runners at the corners. Still nobody out. Rockies trying to explode again in the first inning. Inside. Now 3-0 to Larry Walker.
Now, the Rockies, maybe more than any team in baseball, they have 5 guys in the lineup that will continually get the green light 3-0, and Larry Walker is one of them.
Since an 0 for 4 opener, Larry Walker is hit .533. There goes Burks to second. Hit off the front foot of Walker. That's a foul ball.
Some people would say, why would Ellis Burks run 3-0? Well, it's proven over the years that's the easiest count to steal on because pitchers don't expect you to run. And Ellis saw Bollinger not paying any attention, so he took off, and that one didn't feel good for Larry down off the foot.
Unfortunately for Walker, he wears a protective shin guard. But on a day like today, even that has got to hurt. It does go off the shin guard and part of the foot.
That one even hurt up here, partner.
Oh, it did.
You're showing me a new way of keeping score today. Hands in the pocket, and then something happens. You get that pencil going.
Exactly right. I was thinking of bringing in a designated scorekeeper.
Good idea by Bollinger. He figured Ellis Burks was going to be running 3-1, but Ellis looked like he picked that up right away.
I'm sure Larry Walker has experienced colder days growing up in Canada. It's got to feel good to him. Up too high, ball 4. Burks is again running on the pitch. No stolen base, obviously, with a walk to Walker. That'll load him up.
Jim Bollinger's probably got some mental demons going. Last year when he was with the Cubs, he pitched very well in his first start at Los Angeles, and he came into Coors Field and was absolutely horrible, and his season really started to slide. And I'm just wondering if the mental gymnastics is starting to take over with Jim Bollinger right now. The Expos could have pitched Pedro Martinez, their ace, who was on a 7-game suspension. He was originally scheduled to pitch in St. Louis on Thursday. That was snowed out. Friday snowed out here. But now Felipe Alou says we're going to push him back to some warm weather down in Houston at the Astrodome.
That's okay with the Rockies.
Yeah, the Rockies don't mind that a bit.
Now Galarraga hit his 250th career home run on Wednesday, and that 4-for-5 effort fouls it off the plate.
I mean, sometimes it's who you play and when you play them. Right now, the Rockies look like they'll avoid Pedro Martinez both of the series, and they also did not have to face what a lot of people are calling one of the greatest-looking rookies ever, Vladimir Guerrero, who's out with a broken foot.
Add to that the fact that the Rockies didn't have to face Jeff Brantley, the closer for the Reds, although the way they played, they probably wouldn't have faced him anyway. Inside 1-1 to Galarraga.
I'll tell you, if you're going to have a game plan as a hitter today, you've just got to go up there and say, anything inside I'm going to take. And that's the game plan Don Baylor always wants Galarraga to have. He hit .413 with men in scoring position a year ago. He's up to his old tricks again.
There's that inside pitch that he did not lay off, and it's 1-2 now to Galarraga. Bases loaded, nobody out, no score, first inning. Hope those of you watching are comfy in your confines of your toasty house with a fireplace going, watching Rockies baseball today. Glad to have you with us. Setting up outside, that's where the pitch goes, and it evens up at 2-2. Now Valdez already up and throwing for the Expos in their bullpen. Well, obviously everybody's well rested.
Yeah, Mark Valdez normally a starter, but because of the 3 off days in a row for the Expos, that's put their pitching staff, like the Rockies, in a little bit of a state of flux, so he'll be the long man out of the pen today.
The 2-2 pitch to Galarraga, and that's spanked foul into the crowd, out of play.
Looks like Cat is swinging just a little tentative today. Sometimes a couple of days off will mess up your timing, and it looks like he's having trouble getting that big body loose. It's kind of just pushing the bat instead of really keeping it back and whipping it.
Sometimes not only trying to get loose, but all the extra clothing you wear just to try to keep warm confines you somewhat.
See, he was really tied up inside. He's trying to make sure he doesn't get jammed, so he's kind of trying to inside out the ball to right field.
Outfield playing extremely deep. Galarraga at the plate. And again, the 2-2 pitch. Spanked to the hole by Bresolonic. 2 runs will score. Walker racing to third. A 2 RBI single for Galarraga. And like they have done through this winning streak, the Rockies are on the board in the first.
Little bitty things. Walks by Bollinger. Bresolonic, that's a ball, quite frankly. Eric Young made 2 better plays than that in the first inning. At least if he gets that, he can stem the tide. This ball should have been knocked down or caught, and Bresolonic let it get past him for a base hit. You see, he had the glove up, and the ball went underneath him. So the pitching coach of the Expos right now, Bobby Cuellar, coming out. And a good read here. Of course, on a ground ball, you're going anyway. Ellis Burks and Bresolonic. Ball past him, and Cuellar, who saw the Rockies score a whole bunch of runs, 26 of them up at Olympic Stadium last weekend in 3 games, is saying to Jim Bollinger, we got to get an out or 2 here.
Reds hitting coach Dennis Menke said, if I were a pitcher coming in here to Coors Field, I would never watch the Rockies take batting practice. Now, for the Expos today, they didn't have to watch because the Rockies took batting practice inside the tunnel.
Yeah, well, they took batting practice last Saturday at Olympic Stadium, too, and the Expo pitchers all saw that.
Yes, they did.
1 home run on Friday, 7 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday for a grand total of 10.
2-0 Rockies. That'll get the crowd warmed up just a little bit. Still in the first. Runners at first and third. Still nobody out.
One of the things that pitchers have complained about here in the cold weather in the early part of the season is they can't get a grip on the ball. I think it probably affects the visitors more because I think the Rocky pitchers are more used to it.
Now Bichette. Bichette swinging through on the changeup. Strike one. Dante has hit Mullinger well. 350 average, 1 home run. Bichette now with a 4-game hitting streak. The Rockies have picked up where they left off Wednesday.
Mike Swanson, pretty clever in the notes today, said it was like Groundhog Day, where days repeat themselves. 13 runs, 19 hits on Tuesday and Wednesday. It is one of my all-time favorite movies.
Bill Murray was unbelievable in that movie. He would appreciate a day like today. No humor, though, for the Expos. They're getting spanked by the Rockies again. This one hit hard. A high hopper to Lansing to Grzelcyk for 1. The double play. No RBI as Walker scores, but the Rockies lead it 3-0 now. Walker comes home from third on the double play.
Well, this stems the tide of the rally, but if you're going to hit into a double play, at least put it in play, get that run in. Lansing, good feed to Grzelcyk, and this one was kind of automatic, 4-6-3.
And you show the hustle of Larry Walker being able to go from first to third on a single to left field with the outfield playing so deeply on Galarraga. That allowed him to score from third base on the double play. Now Vinny Castilla. Vinny, first pitch swinging, fouls it straight back.
There's a flash.
Now for Vinny, he has a 6-game hitting streak going. You see what he did on Wednesday against the Reds. He's at .429 over that stretch with 3 homers, 7 runs scored, 6 runs batted in, and a couple of doubles. Strike 2 to Castilla.
Well, it looks like he's loose now. That's a tough thing. I'm sure Jim probably felt he was loose in the bullpen, but he came out kind of shot-putting the ball in the first inning.
How does Jamie Wright stay loose between innings?
Might be using Chico's sauna just to stay warm. You don't want to work up a big sweat in there because then you're going to get a cold or pneumonia. But if you're really starting to get chilled, you step inside there for 30 seconds to a minute. At least it warms your bones a little bit.
He doesn't appear to be affected by the cold at all. Came out in the short sleeves.
Must be that 22-year-old thing.
Yeah, young blood. Castilla pops it foul behind home plate, out of play.
Florida, Cincinnati have gone to the 9th inning tied at 1. The Marlins are getting unbelievable pitching. We knew they were going to have 3 dandies, and Alex Fernandez, Kevin Brown, and Al Leiter. Now Pat Rapp is pitching good. The Marlins had gone 26 consecutive innings without allowing a run before Deion Sanders tied that game at 1. They're in the 9th now.
1-2 pitch is outside.
Marlins went 26-5 in spring training and have started out 8-1. They are serving notice.
Yes, they are. They have opened up a 2-game lead on the Braves in the Eastern Division. Way high and outside. 3-2 now to Vinny. Bullinger's already walked 2 this inning. The Expos in this 4-game losing streak. Lou's not smiling a whole lot because his team has been outscored now 31-10. Down too low. Vinny draws the walk.
I tell you, Vinny is seeing the ball very well right now. When he's a little bit of a tailspin, he chases that slider down and away. Right now, he's seeing it very well. He's not even really offering at that ball. We'll take a look. Watch the head. Watch Vinny follow the ball. You see, he's not even starting his swing. So he's seeing the ball very well.
Not to take anything away from the bottom third of the order for the Rockies, Dave, but if you're an opposing pitcher and you look at a lineup like Young, Burks, Walker, Galarraga, Bichette, Castilla, You cannot be getting a good night's sleep.
No, there's really only one other lineup in baseball that has 5 guys that can match the Rockies, and that's Seattle, beginning with their number 2 guy, Alex Rodriguez, and then you go to Griffey and Buhner, Edgar Martinez. I mean, they can just bring firepower at you. But the Rockies, I think, have far and away a much better leadoff man, Eric Young, than Joey Cora.
Absolutely. Better overall second baseman. That one hits away from the catcher, Fletcher, and down to second goes Castillo. So he's in scoring position and a 2-0 count on Manwaring. A wild pitch charged to Bollinger to allow Castillo to go to second base. With 3 runs in the first, a walk to Eric Young, a single by Burks, a walk to Walker to load him up, a single by Galarraga to score 2, then Bichette into a double play, Walker's scoring. Now Castillo at second with 2 outs. Manwaring 1 for 4 on Wednesday after a 4-game absence. Fouls this one off into the crowd, out of play. Still kind of crowing about running down Deion Sanders the other day.
Good thing Vinny's got a short memory, because I'm sure when he saw me in the clubhouse today, cuz I didn't hear you say anything about us. Vinny, we weren't on TV then.
Whipped into left field. Can Rodriguez get there? No way. Here's Castillo to score, and the Rockies have upped their lead to 4.
Well, that's a ball that's got to be caught. Henry Rodriguez never broke in it at all. That ball only hit about 10 feet away from him, and he never made an effort to get there. But Manwaring hit it right on the snoot, and the Rockies get a 4 spot early. Boy, Kurt got the bat head out there, but Henry shied away from it from the time it was hit.
Well, he's not exactly a defensive asset in left field for the Expos. They know that. They like his bat in the lineup. Now Weiss, the 8th man to come to the plate. Rockies 5 in the home opener on Monday in the first, 4 on Wednesday in the first, and 4 more here. Bollinger already has 34 pitches in this first inning.
And if you're a fielder standing out there, particularly in the outfield, the good thing is that that field is heated to 58 degrees. But it's probably still a little bit damp out there on those tootsies.
Weiss looks at a pitch in the dirt, and it's 2-1.
I know some outfielders at Wrigley Field, they actually wear plastic baggies on their feet underneath all their stockings. I guess that helps keep the moisture away from their feet.
Weiss looks at a strike, and it's 2-2. Weiss, he came back to the lineup on Wednesday, went 2 for 3. Weiss said his knee feels much better. The extra 2 days off really helped him a lot. He was hit on a pitch in Montreal last Friday. There goes the runner, Manwaring. You know the Rockies will run on you, leading 4-0, and their catcher is running.
Yeah, one of the things that you must do in Coors Field is get the outs that you need to. Again, the ball Galarraga hit, it was hit sharply. But quite frankly, I've seen Grzelcyk make that play a lot of times. He should have been able to at least get 1 out. Henry Rodriguez kind of shying away from the ball Manwaring. That's giving the Rockies 2 extra outs in the inning, and we better not do that with the Rockies.
And I've heard you say it a million times, you can't walk guys either. Bollinger has walked 3. All have come in to score. Bobble and thrown away. That'll allow Manwaring to go to third. Weiss safe at first.
That might be a double error on Grzelcyk. 1 for bobbling the ball, and then 1 for allowing Manwaring to go to third base. And Grzelcyk is not having a good beginning today. Ball is bobbled. That going to allow Walt Weiss to make it, and then when he throws the ball away at first base, Manwaring goes to third. So that will be 2 errors on Grzelcyk.
The first one on the bobble, the second one on the throw to allow Manwaring to go to third base. So things just compounding for the Expos. And now Jamie Wright comes to the plate. The Rockies bat around again, Dave.
The Rockies, I think this is the 6th time in 9 games that the Rockies have batted around. But Again, the Expos have given the Rockies 3 extra outs.
High pop-up into shallow center field. This one might drop. No, Lansing goes out to make the over-the-shoulder catch. He saved a run there, at least one. But the Rockies get 4. We go to the second. The Rockies are cooking again.
I'm an aggressive player, so I give these guys the green light.
Inside Rockies baseball.
Well, you can't play this game looking over your shoulder.
Listen to what the manager of the Colorado Rockies has to say about the game.
It's right where you want to be. You're trying to position yourself for September. I like the game to pick up a little bit.
The John Baylor Show. Sunday, following Rockies baseball on Denver's 2.
There are some games that look easy to win, but they aren't.
It's no fair. How come he gets to go first?
Then there's cash fine. It looks easy to win, and it is.
Things in life can change like that. All that work, and it's gone. But Farmers Insurance can help you get things back to the way they once were. That's why everything we do, from the way policies are written to the way claims are handled, revolves around getting you back to that point. Isn't that what insurance is supposed to do? Hey, wires can short out. Toasters can catch fire. These things happen. But with Farmers, we can at least help get you back where you belong.
The runs are flowing for the Rockies, leading 4-0 as we head to the second. Gebs, guys are looking even more realistic with all the snow out there in center field. Well, it's Rocky season, so grab a frost-brewed Coors Light and enjoy the game. Look for the new limited edition bat bottles wherever you buy Coors Light. With Dave Campbell, Dave Armstrong at Coors Field. Now, the Rockies have exploded for 4 in the first inning. And the Expos will send David Segui, Henry Rodriguez, and Darren Fletcher to the plate. Jamie Wright, an 11-pitch first inning. Segui hitting cleanup for the second game in a row. Henry Rodriguez has been on a strikeout binge. And so Segui moving up a spot in the order. Segui 0 for 4 hitting cleanup the other day against St. Louis. The Expos started off hot, and they start the second inning hot with a single by Segui to left field. They started off with 3 straight wins over St. Louis, and the Rockies came to town and buried them.
You asked the question in between innings, how's it going to affect Jamie Wright? We'll have to find out this inning. I mean, he went out, had a great first inning, only 11 pitches. But once you get warm and get in a rhythm, the only bad thing about putting 4 runs up and having an inning like that is sometimes pitchers get a little bit out of it. So we'll see.
Henry Rodriguez, the batter. He has 2 home runs, but he has really been struggling. In fact, he has struck out 7 times in the last 3 games. Down too low, ball 1. He went 0 for 4, batting in the 5th spot against St. Louis the other day, including 3 strikeouts. David Segui being pushed back to the bag. 4-0 Rockies, in case you just joined us. We're in the second.
Rodriguez wears that guard in his knee. He fouled the ball off there and broke his leg in 1995.
On the ground to Young. He's got it to second for 1. Weiss the relay. It gets away from Galarraga, but good backup by Manwaring. Does not allow Rodriguez to go to second. No error on the play. You can't assume the double play.
And pretty good work by Walt Weiss. It looked like EY hurried that play a little bit. Again with the 4-run lead. Make sure you get 1 out. Eric gave Walt a throw down by his knees. Weiss made sure he caught it first to get an out. That's a good veteran play right there. And then Segui got after him a little bit. And Galarraga couldn't make the play. But when you got a 4-run lead, make 1 out and the double play is a bonus.
Now Darren Fletcher, the batter. Fletcher, the backup to Chris Widger, been getting a little playing time though. And .364 to start the season. Strike one to Fletcher.
Anytime a second baseman has to go to his left or towards first base, it's always tougher to make the double play. And again, that's when you want to make sure when you have the lead that you get one out for sure.
A little bit outside, 1-1 to Fletcher.
It's a game situation. If you have to turn the double play, then that's a whole different ball of wax. But you just make sure that you get one out there. We saw Jason Bates make that mistake when the Rockies were ahead 12-1 the other day.
And in fairness to Bates, he didn't get a good call from the second base umpire on that play either.
Yeah.
One ball, one strike to Fletcher. He's 1 for 3 off Jamie Wright. Good block by Manwaring. No advance by Rodriguez.
5 of the 7 American League games postponed by inclement weather. In the National League, they finally have postponed the Mets hosting San Francisco. 8. Los Angeles and Pittsburgh. 9 games today have been lost to the weatherman.
And to steal a line from Keith Olbermann, our friend at ESPN Sports Center, if this weather continues, baseball could be out of business by the end of the month.
I'll tell you, the producers at Sports Center right now are scrambling to rework their rundowns. 9 baseball games out of 14 down the drain.
Squibbed into left in front of Bichette. It'll drop for a hit. Fletcher aboard. Rodriguez stops at second.
Jamie's gotten behind a couple of hitters and had to come in. And Manwaring will have a little chat with him.
Both hits the opposite way to left field in this inning.
Some of the times you got to remind the fans what I'm sure Frank Funk reminds Jamie Wright. When your team has scored, especially put a 4 spot up, go out and put a 0 up again just to let the Expos know you're going to be serious about the afternoon.
Absolutely. Here's Santangelo. You see his average on the year. FP 1 for 9 against the Rockies in that series last weekend in Montreal. Fastball high and outside, ball 1.
Jamie's got good movement on his pitches, but he's been up this inning. He got the ball up to David Segui, who hit it to left. Same thing to Fletcher, and then he starts out upstairs to Santangelo.
Just missed.
Well, again, that's the pitch I think that umpires need to call strikes, but then the umpires aren't going to listen to me. I see umpires calling pitches off the corner. Now, this ball, there's no question it's over the plate, but this ball is ruled high. See, it splits the middle of the plate. The rule book says a midway point between the top of the shoulders and the top of the uniform pant, but they just don't call that pitch. And again, I see umpires calling pitches off the corner strikes. But a pitch over the middle of the plate, hitters can reach. It's a tough pitch to hit because most hitters can't get on top of that high fastball, but the umpires have been lowering the strike zone ever since 1968.
By the way, I'm redubbing the U.S. West Sky Cam. I'm now calling it the U.S. West Rafter Cam.
Who's coming up with all these names?
Yes, there's our Rafter Cam, the U.S. West Rafter Cam, the camera that most umpires would like to not see us use.
Well, again, behind 3-1 for Jamie Wright.
Yep. To give in a little bit here to Santangelo and hit into the gap in right center field. Runners were moving on the play. They'll both score easily. Burks flags it down. Santangelo stops with the double, and the Expos have cut the lead in half to 4-2.
Can't keep pitching 2-1 and 3-1 to major league hitters. Jamie Wright, who had a very good first inning, and Frank Funk's going to come out and talk to him right now. He's just getting the ball up. And a sinker ball pitcher, that's death on sinker ballers when you get the ball up in the zone. 3-1, he doesn't want to walk Santangelo. Belt high right down the middle.
Exactly where FP was looking for it. So Frank Funk saying, all right, you got to settle down. Funk was telling me before the game, I said, what's it like to pitch in cold weather? He said, honestly, pitchers really have an advantage because hitters are so tied up and they don't like to see a ball coming inside on their fists. But the one trouble spot for pitchers is to get the feel of the ball. It gets a little slippery, a little slick in cold weather conditions like this.
And especially the lower the humidity, the slicker a ball gets too.
And obviously, even with all the snowfall, still low humidity here in Denver. one to Shane Andrews, who has home run power. He's hit 2 this year. In fact, Andrews hit a home run off of Jamie Wright.
And that was a 3-1 pitch in Montreal. Jamie had a pretty good lead and wasn't going to walk Andrews either. Again, 3-1 and 2-0 counts are when hitters make their money because they're very aggressive. They're looking for their pitch.
Good pitch again, but just missed outside. 1-1.
I think we've talked about it before that when hitters get 2 strikes on them, the overall major league average is 182. Of course, it's even lower than that at 0-2 and 1-2, but that's anytime they have 2 strikes, 182, because hitters are more defensive. They don't want to strike out. They want to put it in play.
Manwaring again setting up outside. That pitch came inside. It's 2-1.
Charlie Williams, a home plate umpire, has always been known pretty much as a hitter's umpire. He's got a tight strike zone.
How much will an umpire go off of where the catcher sets up and then where the ball is delivered?
Well, they shouldn't, but sometimes they do. I mean, it should be. They've got a pretty good view of the plate there, especially the inside corner.
Now 3-1. Jim Bollinger, a good hitting pitcher in the on-deck circle. Right, as Davis pointed out, falling behind the Expo hitters here in the 2nd inning. There's Bollinger, a former shortstop. Get on the ground. Looks like some light snow now falling here at Coors Field, but like partly cloudy sky, a lot of sunshine. But on that center field camera, it looked like a few snow flurries. Could be some of the residual snow blowing out of the stands, where the ground crew and the staff here at Coors Field did a yeoman's effort in getting this field ready to play today. Swing and a miss, and down goes Andrews. 2nd strikeout for Wright.
Jamie came back from a 3-1 count, made a fairly good pitch 3-1 that Andrews fouled off. And on the 3-2, another good sinker that Andrews can't catch up with. That's where Jamie Wright is going to make his living. He's got to be inside and have movement on his pitches.
Good article the other day in the Denver Post by John Henderson about pitchers throwing sinker balls, especially here at Coors Field. Off the middle, I told you Bollinger could hit. As Wright tried to get ahead with a first pitch fastball, and Bollinger rips it for a single. The lead's been cut to 1, 4-3 now in favor of the Rockies.
Bollinger signed as a shortstop. Couldn't hit the curveball very well, so converted to pitcher. But he got a first pitch fastball like a lot of pitchers do. You want to try to get ahead when you're struggling with your control. So 7 scored in an inning and 2/3.
But this was a day so cold that the pitchers would have the advantage. Here we are in the 2nd, and already 7 up on the board. First pitch to Grzelcyk just misses. Grzelcyk grounded to Eric Young his first time up. Young making a spectacular play to get him.
Well, in both innings that saw scoring, the leadoff man got on. Eric Young drew a leadoff walk. David Segui opened this one with a single. That's one thing. Sometimes young pitchers, they get a lead and they think, well, I'll bear down when I get men on base. If you bear down on that first hitter, get the first hitter in the inning, you're going to generally have a lot more success. Maybe shouldn't limit that just to young pitchers. A lot of pitchers.
On the ground, Galarraga spears it, goes to Walt Weiss, the shortstop, to force Bollinger, and that'll do it for the Expos in the 2nd, but they make a game of it, scoring 3 times. Rockies coming back up, leading by 1.
Hey, Brett, these guys have a beer menu. This beer is made with lingonberries. Ooh, and this one has a dash of espresso. Aura of forbidden coconut. 2 Coors.
Since 1873. Original Coors. Pure and simple.
Peach medley.
You see this? This beer has beer in it.
Hello? Oh, Echo! Go! Dudley!
Introducing the all-new Jeep Wrangler. Dual airbags, a smoother ride, and starting around $14,000.
Nature! Trees! Boulders!
Must be his first Jeep.
Rookie.
Oh, yes!
See your local Jeep and Eagle dealer.
We've got the ultimate deep dish with a thick golden brown crust. Almost a full inch thick.
We put the hot in hot, the wow in wow.
With bubbling cheese melting over the edge. That's how.
Wow! Now! Hold on the road.
Get a medium deep dish with up to 3 toppings for $8.99. Any second pizza, $4.99. Hot and on their way to you.
This day in baseball history brought to you by McDonald's. 1992, Boston's Roger Clemens and Matt Young limited the Indians to 2 hits total in a doubleheader, breaking the Major League record of 3 hits allowed in a doubleheader by brothers Paul and Dizzy Dean. Paul pitched the no-hitter. Dizzy allowed 3.
And there was something more than 747 on hand for that doubleheader that day. Here's Eric Young, who will lead off, and look what he did in the first inning with not 1 but 2 spectacular plays. He gets the first 2 guys in that Expo lineup with Grzelcyk and Lansing, who are struggling at the plate, saying, come on, Eric, cut us some slack. Young also contributed at the plate in the first inning by leading off with a 4-pitch walk, and he scored the Rockies' first run.
Well, even though the Rockies executed that play right back in the top half of the second inning because it was tough, and Walt Weiss made sure he got 1. Obviously, if the Rockies could have turned that double play, they could have held the Expos maybe to 1 run in the inning. So, again, extra outs allow the opposition, especially here, teams take advantage of it.
Fly ball, right field, long run for Santangelo, still coming, and it goes into the crowd. Strike 1 to Eric Young.
You could put down a formula for success to play at Coors Field. It would be don't walk people and don't give the opposition more than 3 outs. And if you do that, you're going to win your share here, especially if you're the Rockies with this offense they have.
No question about it. Young, you see what he's done against the Expos in his career. Hitting just 182 off Bullinger, but as I pointed out, 2 home runs. 2 of his 4 hits have been home runs off Bullinger. The Rockies as a team this year have hit 20 home runs, by far and away the lead in the National League. The next closest, the Expos, with 10. The Rockies have played fewer games than many teams in the National League. Expos have played 7, the Rockies 8. Everybody else has played more. Larry Walker with 6 of those 20 home runs. Walker has out-hit most teams in the National League. Line drive almost took the head of Bullinger. And Eric Young with a leadoff single in the second. The hit parade continues.
Well, let's see if the pattern of getting the leadoff man continues to produce runs. Eric got a breaking ball up and just spanked it to center field.
See the location. Oh, boy.
Slider that didn't slide much. He left it right out over the plate. That's the old expression about pitching, chuck and duck.
Ellis Burks, he singled in his first at bat. He actually got a hit that was not a home run.
Surprised he didn't ask for the ball.
Well, you see in that pitch to Eric Young, reminds me of the line of Vin Scully, who said that's like trying to get a pork chop past a hungry wolf.
Bullinger doing a pretty good job of catching Eric Young taking the walking lead. I know he's thrown over a lot, but Eric trying to get that good walking lead, and it seems though Bullinger's picked the good time to keep Eric from stealing. He wants to make Eric Young go from a dead stop. Eric's going to try to get that walking lead, be in motion. Look, he's walking. But he also shortened up his lead that time.
Strike 1 to Burks. Atlanta now leading the Cubs 1-0 in the 5th inning. Remember, Maddox is pitching for the Braves, and the Cubs are 0-8 to start the year. Houston leading St. Louis 3-2 that game in the 5th. Again, watch the walking lead of Eric Young. On the ground. to Andrews. He goes the short way to force Young at second. Burke safe on the fielder's choice.
Bollinger got that breaking ball down and away, and Ellis Burks pulled off just a little bit.
That'll bring up Larry Walker. He walked his first time up and scored. Walk off to just a tremendous start.
Looks like Ellis Burks is getting a special glove on at first base. Time was called so that he doesn't jam that wrist when he slides.
Ellis Burks saying, well, one thing I have to be careful of is the check swings. And he said that's a lot easier said than done. That looks like one of those braces that you see kids wearing when they go out rollerblading.
Like one of those braces some of the checkers wear in supermarkets. Is it carpal tunnel syndrome or whatever it's called?
Walker, boy, he had a hanging breaking ball, and he just missed it, fouling it off on the third base side. When you're in a zone like Walker is, and Dave, you probably weren't in too many of those zones, but that ball has got to be looking like a softball coming up there.
Why is our cameraman Sammy falling out of the booth? The only time I really remember one is I was in the minor leagues. I hit 3 Grand Slam homers in my entire professional career, and I hit 3 of them within 2 weeks in AAA ball, and it did look like a softball. Yeah, I had one zone. Unfortunately, it was while I was playing for Toledo. I remember the guys in Rochester. I think I hit all 3 of them against Rochester with the Baltimore Farm Club then. They remember.
Still one of the Mud Hens' all-time leading hitters. 1-1 to walk.
The Mud Hens. One of the better nicknames.
Yeah. I like the Lansing Lug
Yeah,
Nuts.
my old hometown. Lansing Lug. Went back for a banquet this week. Lansing Lug Nuts. Portland Sea Dogs.
Walker went upstairs to chase that one, then banged himself in the helmet, saying, why? 1-2 now to walk.
Larry, one of those notorious streak hitters, so you just wonder how this layoff is going to affect him.
Burks the lead at first, and again, Bollinger keeping a wary eye on these Rockies who love to run. 4-3 in favor of Colorado. We're in the second. Rockies with 4 in the first. The Expos responded with 3 in the second inning. Rockies with a runner on and 1 out. Temperature below freezing, 28 when we started today.
Larry gave us an answer as to how the layoff would affect him. No doubter on a 1-2 pitch. I think Felipe Alou is getting tired of seeing this off Larry Walker. That's 5 home runs he's hit against the Expos.
Well, he is making his former team pay for not re-signing him.
Jumped up on a high fastball. Bollinger got one by him, and Larry, I think, tuned up the dial a little bit.
Now Galarraga with the bases empty. Change up high, 1-1 the count to the Cat. Galarraga singled home 2 his first time up. So the Rockies have expanded their lead to 3 again. Dave was talking about the job of Jamie Wright to go out and try to put a 0 up on the board in the second. Same job for the Rocky hitters to again make the Expos feel like this is our game. They have responded. We estimate that home run at 405 feet.
Baseball, a funny game. Galarraga got the best pitch he's had to hit, and he had his best swing, and he drew a blank. Last time he was struggling, but he got a hit to drive in, too.
Inside, 3-2. too. Dave, I really enjoyed your, I don't know if you call it a column or whatever, but your piece in the Rocky Mountain News today, The Best in Baseball by Dave Campbell. And today you looked at the power hitters. And you included both Walker and Galarraga in your top 10.
That's because I live in Colorado.
It's also because they are pretty good power hitters.
Well, they've got great power no matter what ballpark they play. You know, the interesting thing, Tracy Ringlesby said, okay, let's do the top 10 power hitters. And I went, well, that'll be easy. And I sat down, and all of a sudden I could come up with about 25 guys. And that was not a real easy list to whittle down. I'm sure there's going to be guys who are upset about it. But
Dante Bichette made your honorable mention along with Vinny Castilla and Ellis Burks from the Rockies. But, I mean, there were other names on your honorable mention like Barry Bonds and Jose Canseco and Matt Williams. I mean, that's a pretty tough top 10.
Well, Barry Bonds is a guy who hits a lot of home runs, but he doesn't. We were just talking in this column about the tape measure shots.
Yes.
Most of Bonds' home runs are, you know, the 390 to 400 feet variety. There's nothing wrong with that. But Canseco, if he were healthy, obviously would have made the list. The toughest guy, I think, to leave off of all of them was Juan Gonzalez.
Line drive to the third baseman. Andrews trying to double up Galarraga, but he made it back to the bag in time.
A nice play by Andrews. Certainly want to pass along congratulations to Todd and Misty Malding. Barry Jackson Malding, born last night, 7 pounds 10 ounces, 20 inches long. Todd said, thank goodness he looks like his mama. So to Todd and Misty, congratulations.
The rumor unfounded, too, that Todd in the delivery room was wearing the catcher's mask with the catcher's glove. So congratulations to Todd and Misty. Very happy for him. Galarraga at first with 2 in on the Larry Walker home run in the second. 2 outs to Vinny Castilla, who walked and scored in the first.
Todd if there was any significance in the name, and he said it was Misty's younger brother who was named after him.
Well, Vinny off to a fast start, Dave. 4 home runs already.
Yeah, and Vinny notoriously a slow starter, so this has been a little against the grain. Last year, about the first 62 games, he was not really in a great. He only had, I think, 7 home runs the first 62 games last year, and he hit 33 in the last 100.
There was all the talk, remember, in April, May, and part of June that maybe Vinny was a one-year wonder around baseball. Well, he changed everyone's mind and wound up with 40 last year.
Well, he's got too good a swing. I mean, right now, he's seeing the ball very well. We talked about that in his first at-bat. He's not chasing that low and away slider. That's generally when you can tell Vinny's struggling. He starts chasing that, either missing it or hitting weak ground balls on the left side.
He may be the most underrated player in baseball.
Well, he's right up there.
You rarely hear his name mentioned when you talk about some of the power hitters in the game and some of the better defensive third basemen in the game.
They have gone to the 10th inning at Cincinnati. Florida and the Reds are tied at 1 apiece. Valdez. Kind of interesting story with he and Jamie Wright. If Valdez gets in, we'll talk about it.
High fly ball, right field. Back goes Santangelo looking up, and you can forget about this one, too. Number 5 for Vinny.
Well, Vinny not only seeing the ball well, laying off, but going opposite field, and that's what Glenn Hurdle has been talking to him about, and we will get to tell that Valdez story because he's on his way in as Felipe Alou is already called for another pitcher.
Vinny Castilla, 5 home runs already, folks, and he has 9 runs batted in. Going the other way to right field over the scoreboard into the first couple of rows. And the Rockies have answered the 3 scored by the Expos in the top of the inning with 4 of their own. Valdez coming in. Dave will tell you the Jamie Wright connection when we come back to Coors Field in just a moment.
Have you ever wondered, where does Total Gasoline come from anyway? Sort of. Be serious. Actually, we start with the highest quality crude oil. Then we refine it to just the right octane levels. We put in our Total Clean additives. Then finally we test it to meet the most rigid standards. And that's why you can have total confidence. in total premium gasolines.
I think the real difference between Wendy's 99-cent Super Value menu and every place else is better tasting food. Since we make things fresh in our kitchen, they end up being more delicious. We bake our potatoes in an oven. Salads are made fresh all day, every day. Our chicken nuggets are all white meat. You get 5 for 99 cents. Our junior bacon cheeseburgers with 2 strips of bacon are made when you order them, so they're hotter and juicier.
Wendy's 99-cent Super Value menu. It's made for you.
Other places can copy the price, but they can't copy this.
My office. This is my office. This is where I do everything. It's Audrey. Will you tell them that Audrey called? Audrey? Yes. Don't change, like, please don't change. David Rosen available. Looks like he just left to go to a meeting. I'm like 15 minutes away. When will he be back? I wish you could just, like, talk into the phone and it would dial.
For one-to-one loan solutions, call us. Bank 1-to-1.
Vinny Castilla chases Jim Bollinger for the game. With his 5th home run of the year, Bollinger, in an inning and 2/3, gives up 8 runs, 7 earned on 6 hits. He walked 4. All 4 that he walked came home to score, and that gives way to Mark Valdez.
Now, the story we're going to tell you, Mark Valdez pitched at the University of Florida, and back in 1993, the Rockies and Florida Marlins were drafting 27 and 28 position, and Florida had the 27th pick, and they took Valdez. The rumor was that that's who the Rockies wanted, but because Valdez was gone, they took Jamie Wright. Jamie Wright found out about that, and he goes, I want to show the Rockies they made the right choice. He pitched against Valdez in Montreal and beat him up there.
Sure did, 5-4, and that was game 2 of this 6-game winning streak. Manwaring the batter. By the way, in the 6-game winning streak, the starters have picked up the victory in each of those 6 games. That's a club record. It started with Mark Thompson in Cincinnati and has continued on through this homestand, fouled off the front foot of Manwaring.
Rockies with a 4 spot in the first, 4 in the second. So they come right back and answer that. And Jamie Wright's thinking, he should be thinking, all right, these guys are giving me another chance to go out and shut down the Expos. I got to go do it in the 3rd.
The Rockies on this homestand have now scored, let's see, 13 plus 13 plus 8, 34 runs in 2+ games on the homestand. Wow. Plus the pitching has been spectacular. You combine those 2 things and W's usually follow. Manwaring, you see, with that RBI single in the 1st inning. This is, for the Rockies, the 7th man to come to the plate in the 2nd after batting around in the 1st.
Now, one thing that goes with good pitching is good defense. And Don Baylor talked to his club this spring saying, we gave the opposition way too many outs last year.
Manwaring caught looking. Valdez strikes him out to end the frame, but the Rockies with 2 home runs in the inning, one by Walker, one by Castilla, to score 4 and lead 8-3.
Are you good at remembering dates? Me neither. So years ago, when we put a freshness date on all our Coors packages, I said, keep it real simple. Now, with our date, what do you have to remember? If the date gets here, don't buy the beer. Real simple.
We have Dan 1100 in Tacoma, and then probably 1,000 out this area here.
We consider it pretty much a necessity to be able to call out.
There was great response from the phone company.
Some of the guys worked around the clock last night. Whatever needs to be done, we do it.
All that we've ever had to do is call, and they've come right out, Johnny, on the spot.
It's overwhelming to see all these people help us. But we still had phones, so we were very thankful for that.
Whatever it takes.
In the desert, you may never run this hard, this far, or this fast. But it's the extremes of off-road racing that help us build our longest-lasting battery ever, the Duralast battery from AutoZone, the official battery of the Score Desert Championship Series. A battery so tough, so dependable, it comes with a 2-year free replacement guarantee. The next time you hit the open road, don't settle for anything less. The Duralast battery. Power you can depend on.
Expos have to be scratching their head. They've scored 3 in the second and lost ground as the Rockies put up 4 more to lead by 5.
Original Coors, the last real beer. Proud sponsor of your 1997 Colorado Rockies. Look for the new limited edition bat bottles wherever you buy Original Coors.
From Coors Field, he's Dave Campbell. I'm Dave Armstrong. We go to the third. Mike Lansing leading off for the Expos. They'll be followed by the heart of the order, Rondell White and David Segui. Lansing retired on the fine play by Eric Young in the first inning. And again, Jamie Wright falling behind here to start the third after the Rockies sent 7 men to the plate in the second. Wright coming out struggling here in the third inning. 2-0 the count to Lansing. And that one's not even close. 3-0. Expos have put the bats in front of the heater. Trying to warm the wood. There's right down Main Street. Strike 1 to Lansing. Lansing 2 for 11 in the series against the Rockies in Montreal last weekend. Ball 4. Leadoff walk. The leadoff man has scored every time he has been aboard, or at least been responsible for getting the rally started.
Yeah, Jamie Wright, the problem he will have is that front shoulder of his. When he opens it up, that causes the arm to drag, and he's not as sharp with his control. He has a tendency to open that shoulder quite a bit.
Manwaring already saying he's got a pretty good feel for the pitching staff of the Rockies. That's why the Rockies acquired Manwaring to try to settle down, especially the younger pitchers like Jamie Wright.
One of the toughest things for young pitchers to do is when they do begin to struggle is make their own adjustments. Sometimes veterans even struggle with it. But
high chopper. Weiss has got it to second for 1. That's the only play they could possibly get. And of course Lansing at second base.
Again, that same philosophy. 5-run lead. No chance for a double play with the speed of Rondell White. Walt Weiss made sure he secured the ball. Eric Young did not even think about double play. He just said, get the ball and just get off the bag. So that's just good, smart baseball. Don't try to make the spectacular play, especially when you don't have a chance.
So David Segui the batter. 1 out and White at first base on the fielder's choice. We'll send along birthday greetings today to Mike Hansen, who turns 24. Dave, you know Mike. He is a security guard outside the Rockies clubhouse.
Good thing he lets us in.
That's right. So happy birthday, Mike. Houston now jumping on St. Louis, leading 7-2 in the 6th inning. Larry Dierker's got his glove in first place.
Cincinnati beat Florida. Pokey Reese, who was just called up from the minor leagues. He's a great-looking shortstop, although he's going to have to wait for Barry Larkin. He got the game-winning hit. He was called up today and got the game-winning hit. So the Reds beat the Marlins 2-1. Second loss for Florida.
They're 8-2. Strike 1 to Segui. He singled to start the Expos rally in the second inning. He was forced at second, but it still helped open the door. Line drive in the middle. That'll drop for a hit. Rondell White will stop at second base. The second straight hit for David Segui. And now the power in the lineup coming up for the Expos, and Henry Rodriguez, who hit a club record 36 home runs a year ago. Rodriguez hitting into that fielder's choice his first time up.
Just a reminder, tomorrow, you fans coming out, is Coca-Cola Calendar Day. All fans attending will get one. Game time 1:05. The gates open at 11. Tickets can be purchased at Coors Field Ticket Office, King Soopers, any Rockies dugout store, or by calling 1-800-388-ROCK.
That's a 12-month calendar. Some of your favorite Rockies featured on each of the months.
The thing about Jamie, this is the 7th day since he has pitched, and he's not too sharp. He doesn't appear to have real good velocity on the ball, and he's not locating terribly well.
We were talking about the rotation being messed up with the 2 unscheduled off days thanks to Mother Nature. I was talking with Don Baylor before the game and looking at his day timer and all the whiteout on the rotation. So we've just had to totally revamp things.
Well, Roger Bailey was going to miss a start, and now he'll get back in because of the 2 days off. He will pitch Wednesday in Chicago against the Cubs.
2-0 to Rodriguez. On the ground, Young's got it. This should be 2. It is. Taylor-made once. EY secured it in his glove. An inning-ending double.
I mentioned to you in between innings, when you're in the middle of a good streak, seems though everything good happens for you. It looked like Jamie was in trouble. He got behind 2-0 on Henry. Rodriguez hit a bullet right at Eric Young, and the Rockies turned it over nicely. The only thing we've ever been able to figure out for sure in this game is that by the end of 162, usually the best team has won. But there's a lot of interesting things that happen in between. Most of it going very, very well for the Rockies right now.
Isn't that the truth? Rockies with 2 straight sweeps, a 2-game sweep of the Reds, a 3-game sweep of Montreal. The pitching has been really spectacular. Wright helped out by, as Dave mentioned, that double play ball hit right at Eric Young. And the hitters have been timely hitting, too, for Colorado, hitting close to 500 with runners in scoring position. Valdez has come out of the bullpen to strike out both men he's faced.
Mark must be one of those guys who doesn't read the papers. Doesn't seem to be intimidated by Coors Field.
Probably the best home field advantage in baseball, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
Even though Atlanta last year tied the Rockies for the best home record in the National League, still you get the sense that the Rockies, because of the altitude and the dimensions here at Coors Field, is so unique. It really gives the Rockies an advantage to play home, and they feel it when they're in their own clubhouse.
Well, they feel it. They feel the enthusiasm of the fans, and as Don Baylor says, I love to read negative things and hear negative things about Coors Field because that just fuels our team and puts a little bit of fear in the visiting teams. I mean, you figure the Atlanta Braves, baseball, most people would concede baseball's best pitching staff came in here 6 games last year, gave up 62 runs. That's 10 a game. And don't think that some of those Brave pitchers don't start looking at the schedule and see if there's any chance they're going to miss when the Braves come here for 3 beginning next Friday. Tom Glavine did pitch the first shutout ever at Coors Field.
Yes, he did. And Hideo Nomo has pitched a no-hitter here.
That. I was reading, I think Stats Inc. did a breakdown on what the odds on that were based on the batting average at Coors Field and everything. And they came up with a stat of about 21,000 to 1. And yet he did it. And we saw it. And I still don't believe it.
We got to call 2 no-hitters last year. Both of them went the wrong way. Jamie Wright with a bouncer to Lansing. 2 quickly gone here in the Rockies' 3rd.
Take a look at our minor league report. John Thompson retired 17 in a row against Edmonton as the Colorado Springs Sky Sox split a doubleheader that day. 14 strikeouts and 10 innings pitched. He was very impressive this spring. John Thompson. It's like Mark Thompson without the letter P in it. So remember that name. Sky Sox are off to play in Vancouver.
Speaking of no-hitters, too, Salem had a no-hitter with 2 combined pitchers the other day in 7 innings.
Speaking of Salem, they are missing 1 pitcher who has joined the Rockies. Curtis Lescanic is back. He's actually been here since Wednesday, but nobody's had a chance to talk about it with the weather. Good to see Curtis back.
2-0, the count to Eric Young. As you see, he has scored a run today, 1 for 1 officially with a walk. And now 3-0.
Well, I had a chance to be down in Atlanta to do the Braves in Houston on Wednesday, and I know what Kenny Lofton means, how he can get on base and disrupt things. And Eric Young, the last 2 years, has been every bit of that for the Rockies. His only knock, road problems, but he did well on the first road trip, and he's hoping to put that stigma behind him.
Absolutely. Already hitting .342. High chopper to Grzelcyk. He'll have to hurry. Toss over. Nice dig by Segui. And avoids another error. Here on this date, Rockies beat the Mets 6-5 here at Coors Field. Larry Walker hit a home run. So too did Andres Galarraga. Vinny Castilla had a couple of doubles. And a fellow by the name of Marvin Freeman picked up the win. Leskanic, who we were talking about just a moment ago, got the save. Rockies win that one 6-5. Leading here 8-3 to the fourth we go. And here's Dave Campbell.
Darren Fletcher singled his first time up, scored one of the 3 Expo runs. The Rockies got 4 in the first, chased Jim Bullinger with 4 in the second. Expos got all 3 of theirs in the second. And Jamie's been pitching behind in the count a whole bunch today. 2 balls, no strikes to Darren Fletcher. One of the more respected pitching coaches in baseball is Joe Kerrigan, now with the Boston Red Sox. But he and Darren Fletcher did not see eye to eye in a lot of things the last couple of years. Bouncer, Galarraga. Pass it on a hop. Cat's got the stacking cap on. Saw the hat bouncing towards first.
That looks like Jean-Claude Keeley over at first base.
Right. Here's F.P. Santangelo, who drove in 2 with a double. He had a pretty good line recently. We mentioned the last 3 years the Expos have lost the likes of Marquise Grissom and Larry Walker and Ken Hill, John Wetland, Facero, Moises Alou, Mel Rojas, to mention some. FP said it's like being in high school. He said when they're seniors, you know they're not coming back the next year.
They've used up their eligibility, right?
1 ball, no strikes. Jimmy not throwing strike 1, but getting away with it for the most part, except in the second inning. It's a good pitch, 1-1. Like Jamie went to his changeup. Cincinnati beat Florida 2-1. Houston leads St. Louis 7-5 in the 6th. Greg Maddux has allowed the Cubs only 2 hits through 5, and the Atlanta Braves lead 1-0.
And don't tell me what's going on at the Masters today, all right?
No, I will not. I know you've got your tape machine running at home.
Yes, sir. Tiger was spectacular after that front 940 on the first day. He has just dominated the tournament.
Tiger kind of reminds me of you on those par 5s, hauling out that big monster drive of yours, but 320.
Yeah, right. He had some 390 to 400.
Hey, folks, if you're out there, don't play with my partner or get strokes.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, Zoop.
It's all right. And always give them to me, because I play about 3 times a year, and I stink.
There goes the Troy and Tiffany College Fund. Thanks a lot.
2-2 to F.P. Santangelo. If you were watching last Sunday, Dave told you the F.P. stands for Frank Paul. And it is snowing.
I thought FP stood for freezing person.
Maybe today. Slider, strike 3. So Jamie Wright comes out and gets the first 2 hitters. It's 3 strikeouts for Jamie.
Well, he gets him here with the slider on the speed of the pitch, 85 miles per hour.
Pretty hard slider.
Yeah.
Shane Andrews, the hitter. Like to get him, to get Valdez to lead off next inning. Andrews, one of the 3 strikeout victims of Jamie Wright. 8-3 Rockies in the 4th. Strike called, and all of a sudden Jamie looking more like he did in the first inning. Jamie went out and retired the side in the first. 11 pitches with the help of 2 good plays by Eric Young.
Here's our Raptor cam. And he's getting the outside call.
Inside, a ball and a strike. Charlie won't call the inside pitch.
Good pitch, buddy.
Or as we've seen earlier, the pitch above the belt.
1-1. Fouled off at the plate, 1-2.
The sinker going out, hasn't he?
Indeed. We're back with you 1 o'clock tomorrow. Kevin Ritz and Carlos Perez. If you haven't seen Carlos pitch, get ready for a little treat.
Oh, is that what you call it?
I guess.
Snowing again.
And just a reminder for those of you that had tickets yesterday in the game we lost. Little looper, this is going to be trouble in right field. Larry Walker, and I think Shane Andrews, pretty aware of Larry Walker's arm, decides 1 is enough to start off. So just a reminder again, those of you holding tickets for yesterday's game that was postponed because of the snow and cold, that game will be made up Monday, this Monday. And that'll be a 3:05 start. And Billy Swift will pitch against Jeff Juden. So that was scheduled to be an off day, but that game will be played on Monday. Here's Mark Valdez, the pitcher. Felipe Alou doesn't want to get to his pen too early, and so he lets Valdez hit here. No balls and a strike. Valdez has retired 4 in a row since taking over for Jim Bullinger. Right now, with enough blue up there, this snow is not going to affect play. Swung on a missed, strike 2.
Not the same person.
Separated at birth. Mark Valdez and Shane Andrews.
That's pretty good, guys.
Pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be on Sports Center tonight. Outside, says Charlie Williams. Well, the Minnesota Twins are playing today. They're ahead of Kansas City 6-4. It appears we have Twins here. Dancing in the snowflakes. Top of the 4th, 8-3 Rockies. And this one's high, 2-2.
See Wright fall off that time?
Yeah.
That's what you were talking about earlier, that front shoulder just heading towards first base.
Well, when you have that kind of delivery, sometimes it's tough to maintain consistency.
Watch it again. Watch the front shoulder. Whoop.
Fouled off, and the count stays at 2-2. Postponements today: L.A. at Pittsburgh, San Francisco at New York, San Diego at Philadelphia. That might make it 10 on the day. Anaheim at Cleveland, White Sox at Detroit, Texas at Baltimore, Oakland at New York, and Toronto at Milwaukee. Up the middle, base hit for Valdez. So the Expos trying to rally here with 2 outs. Blue pit by Andrews and a single by Valdez. I'm sure Don Baylor wants to try to get Jamie through 5 and get him a victory, but Jamie's got to help him out and get some outs. Valdez, probably his first major league hit as they throw that ball out. Don kind of shaking his head going, whoa.
Well, the Expos about hit the Rockies now 7-6, but Rockies lead by 5. Again, the trouble. Remember last year we talked, how many times did we talk? With 2 strikes or with 2 outs? The Rockies had trouble just slamming that door. And that's been the case here in the 4th.
Resolani got on a couple of good plays, one by Eric Young, one by Andres Galarraga. Bouncer to Vinny, and once again the Rockies will escape. The Expos lead 2. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. It is 8-3 Colorado.
Out of his glove. At first I thought that was the ball. Then he makes the play at second base. Watch it again. Something dropping out of his glove. And what that is, folks, is a heating pad that he had inside his glove. And Walt went over and picked it up and said, "Thanks, cuz. My hands are cold."
Whatever it takes. I tell you, the most valuable people today are equipment manager Dan McGinn and Mark Wilbur, the strength and conditioning coach. I'm sure he stretched their players out well today, and the training staff.
I was just thinking that gives a whole new definition to the term hot corner.
Yeah, you got that right. I like that. Then you play in the hot corner. Ellis Burks, Larry Walker, Andres Galarraga. 8-3 Rockies, bottom of the 4th. Mark Valdez. He has faced 4 batters, retired all 4, striking out 2. Ellis has reached twice, once on a single and once on a fielder's choice. He has scored twice. He led the National League in runs scored a year ago. Led the National League in slugging percentage, total bases, runs scored. He did not get one single first place MVP vote as Ken Caminetti was the unanimous winner in the National League. They had that spectacular final weekend against the Dodgers when the Padres went into L.A. trailing by 2, and he just literally put the ball club on his back as they swept the Dodgers to win the West.
He won it with a Snickers bar thing in Mexico.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Once Greg Vaughn arrived, he had 23 home runs the last 2 months of the season. Ellis lays off the slider. 1-2.
See where the Padres still trying to deal Ricky Henderson. The Reds are now interested, saying they might just give up totally on Ruben Sierra, their left fielder.
Well, that trade with the Angels is certainly on hold. With Troy Percival, their closer, on the disabled list. Ellis down the third baseline. This will be extra bases. Henry Rodriguez up. Burks with a stand-up double. And Ellis with a single and a double today, on base 3 times.
So Ellis Burks, who was talking to me while we were in Montreal, saying, you know, when you start off like he did with not many hits, he said it just gets so exaggerated because it's the start of the season. But he said you can have 1 or 2 good days and your average can already be up over 200, and it is now. And he said my yardstick for what kind of year I think I'll have is after 100 at-bats. So if I can get to 30 hits and 100 at-bats, I'm in great shape.
1 ball, no strikes. Larry Walker, a long 2-run homer his last time up. He drew a walk. He scored twice, driven in 2 as he continues his lusty hitting. Leading the National League in home runs, total bases, RBIs, extra base hits, slugging percentage. Came in number 2 to Jeff Conine in the batting derby. But with the Marlins only getting 1 run today in 10 innings, Conine might have slipped back a bit.
Walker now at 486 would be ahead of Conine if Conine did not play today. So he would be right now, if the season ended today, Larry Walker would have a triple crown.
2 balls, no strikes, 3-0 to make it to Walker. The Expos are definitely trying to pitch Larry in. He stands off the plate but goes into the pitches. They've tried just about everything else, but not much has worked. Floyd Bailey has seen Larry when he's played for him, and I think he liked it better when Walker was on the Expos. Hits are even at 7 apiece, but the Rockies have outscored the Expos 8-3. 2 errors, both belong to Grzelcyk, both on the same play. Larry will have a green light. But never a chance as Valdez crowded him with 4 straight.
Well, the difference is the Rockies are hitting with power, 2 home runs, the double by Ellis Burks. You also, for the Expos, you look at their hits, 7 hits, but 6 of them have been singles. Do I write down small I, BB on that, semi-intentional walk?
Yeah, I suspect maybe it was.
Even with the 5-run deficit?
Yeah. I think the Expo pitchers have been craning their necks enough watching the prodigious shots of Larry Walker. Valdez goes, you know, if I can make a good pitch on Galarraga, maybe I can get a double play ball.
Hey, Cubs have scored, Dave. 1-1 now with Atlanta.
Holy cow.
Oh, easy, Harry. It's tied. It's not a win yet.
Well, that's a moral victory. Broken back grounder, too slow for a double play. Grzelcyk to first in time to get Galarraga. That's again, when you're going well, you hit the ball on the ground, but you hit it too slowly to get a double play. And Galarraga's hands have got to hurt.
Yeah, being on the hands of Galarraga. That's the location from Valdez. Just diving back in and right off the handle, that hurts. Ken Miller, our director, played for Fort Hays State. He said the first game he ever played there as a freshman, it was about like this today. He said the normal second baseman got injured on like the first pitch of the game, and he was sent in there. Oh, Coach, I don't want to play today.
See Dante's career numbers. Expos infield is halfway. They will try to cut this run down as Dante will try to find a baseball amongst the snowflakes. Fly ball right field. Should be deep enough. Santangelo doesn't have that good an arm. And here comes a runner to the plate. Ellis Burks, and Walker will go to third. Bichette delivers an RBI sacrifice fly. 9-3 Rockies.
Bichette now with 10 runs batted in already this year. 10, and this is the 9th game of the season.
Yeah, Dante's done it kind of quietly, like he usually does. Well, Don Baylor made the switch to put Larry Walker in the 3-hole and move Dante down to 5, and I definitely like that.
I do too.
I mean, Larry's got the great speed. Probably best all-around athlete. Ellis Brooks would be a close second. Dustin Hermanson, who impressed us up in Montreal.
Got a good arm.
Starts listening. Let's see if Vinny can get the Rockies in double figures. Valdez opens with a fastball. Vinny took it. Must have gotten a snowflake in his eye.
Like we've been saying, Dave, the last 3 days around here, where is all this snow coming from?
Now that Mark Valdez pitches for a French-speaking province, he did his Napoleon pose on the mound there, putting his hand inside his shirt. Castilla, good play by Segui, but too late covering is Valdez, and the Rockies get a run. A great play by Segui, but Valdez was spectating on the mound, and Vinny will get an infield hit. Walker scores in 3 games. The Rockies have reached double figures 3 times.
So Vinny, 2 for 2 today. Dave describes it perfectly. Segui with a great play up the line, and that one caught Valdez by surprise. He didn't expect Segui to make the play. Walker can score easily walking home from third base, and Vinny, oh, he'll be crowing about that one. He beats out the infield hit. He's working up some ammunition for you, man.
Yeah, he's got the wheels. I need you to get the calculator out. Let's see, 154, 155, 156. This is the 156th game the Rockies have played at Coors Field. 46 times they have reached double figures. Just need the percentage. I'm just guessing about 30-ish or so.
Get carried working on that. He's got the calculator.
46 and the 156 and push the percentage side. 2 balls and a strike to Manwaring. Rockies with 4 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 here in the fourth.
29%.
29%. Come on, Snows. Keep thinking with the blue sky up there that we're not going to be in danger of having this game halted. That would be a shame for the Rockies. Manwaring swings and misses. They have to get another half inning in for it to be a complete game with the home team leading.
It's too much blue sky for this.
That's what I keep
thinking. There's a lot of breakage in the clouds. That's our meteorology.
Check swing grounder to Segui. Fair or foul? It's supposed to be the home plate umpire's call. Charlie Williams, it's your call. It's your call, Charlie, before it gets to the bag. It's the home plate umpire's call before it gets to the bag. And he called it foul. Before it gets to the base, it's the home plate umpire's call because the first base umpire gets blocked off by the first baseman.
Home plate umpire got blocked off by a snowflake. Let's see if we can look. See, Charlie, now he comes out from behind the plate to look. The foul call. He just put up his arms like, okay, that's it, dead ball. And umpires will do that. They just call it a dead ball. I'd like to see another move on that, wouldn't you, Dave, where they throw their arms up and then kind of signal that they foul the foul.
Yeah, I mean...
But that's not what they do.
Good time and then foul.
Right.
So Charlie, veteran National League umpire.
I mean, he called it right. It's just, it's confusing sometimes to the fans because they just throw their arms up as if the body language is saying, I don't know, I didn't see it. And that's not what he was saying at all. He was saying time.
Full count to Manwaring with 2 outs. Vinny Castillo will be moving here as David Segui tells Valdez he'll be playing behind him.
A good snowstorm now.
Not bad. Manwaring right center field. I guess the hitters are seeing the ball okay. Vinny will stop at third. A single by Manwaring. First and third with 2 outs.
Another hit for the Rockies. Manwaring 2 for 3 today. Rockies baseball is brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's now.
Walt Weiss will hit. Coming into the game was 3 for 3 this year with men in scoring position. Dave mentioned the Rockies hitting over 480 with men in scoring position. 4-3 on the scoring. So the Rockies settled for a 2 spot and leave 2.
Who was the National League Rookie of the Year in 1977? Charlie Stark, our producer, is it all right if I give him a little clue on this? All right, I'm going to give you just a little hint. And this might not help much, but he played part of that year in Denver. Dave, I just saw a guy walk by in shorts. No kidding, no kidding. Shorts and a short sleeve shirt.
Must be Jamie Wright's cousin. Jamie's still not wearing a sweatshirt today. Mike Marshall, the pitcher who holds the major league record for most appearances ever in a season, 106 relief appearances when he won the Cy Young for the Dodgers in 1974. He never wore a sweatshirt, no matter how cold it was. And he used to pitch for the Expos when they had an outdoor stadium at Parc Jarry.
Those people are not dancing. They're just trying to keep warm.
1 ball, no strikes to Mike Lansing.
Well, the snow has stopped.
Mike has walked and bounced out. He and Grzelcyk 0 for 4 today. Broken bat. Eric's going to have to play it on a hop. Lansing's going to have to go get some new hands. That's the second time he's gotten sawed off, and that's got to hurt. Lansing just shaking his head.
Well, he grew up in Casper, Wyoming. He's got to be used to some of the cold, but oh, that hurts. I can feel that one all the way up here.
Jamie Wright's pitch count. Ball strike ratio, not what Jamie would like, nor Frank Funk, but he's managed to wiggle off the hook in some jams. Rondell White, a bouncer to Vinny. He has to back up and then load it. Play by Vinny Castilla.
Man. That's what I'm saying, folks, when I talk about Vinny being one of the most underrated players in the game today. Does anyone have a more accurate arm? Look at this. Right on target. He makes that play look easy.
When he gets on balance, accurate arm as I've ever seen, and I've been around a while.
And he didn't lose the heating pad either.
Yep. David Segui, he's had a good afternoon.
Notice how I let that been around a while comment just slide right by?
Well, it's okay.
I guess that beats the alternative, right?
This one is high and deep, and Larry Walker is saying sayonara. Home run for David Segui.
3rd of the year.
So Jimmy Wright with 2 outs here in the 5th. Gives up a solo. And Segui, since moving into that 4 spot, must feel like he's a big slugger now. Looks like he got something off speed and waited well on it.
Son of Diego Segui, who was not a power hitter. He got all of that one and into the Rockies bullpen.
Might have been changeup. It looked like Jamie had all his fingers over that ball as he was delivering it. Rodriguez takes the ball. 1-0 to Henry. Bounced out twice as Dustin Hermanson continues to throw. He looks like he'll be coming on here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Swing and a miss by Rodriguez. 1 ball, 1 strike to Henry. Expos need him to kind of pick up where he started out last year in the first half of the season. They need an infusion of offense right now. 20 home runs in the first 2 months last year. Popped up left side. Vinny doing some tracking. Not a lot of wind today. And that's one thing the fielders were fortunate for. So Vinny with a good play in the inning. Afternoon, we saw him a couple of times up in Montreal. Featured a good-looking fastball and a hard slider. First time we saw him, he struck out 5 out of the 6 Rockies he faced. Other changes for the Montreal Expos. F.P. Santangelo moves from right to left. And in right field, batting 9th in the order, is Sherman Obando. If you're keeping score with us, put Obando 9th and put the pitcher Hermanson hitting in Rodriguez's spot. Clint Hurdle talking with the first base umpire Steve Ripley. Now remember, the umpires don't get to go in and get warm in between innings like some of the players do. So they're kind of like the fans, unless the fans run for cover. They're bundled up for it, though. Jamie Wright to lead off. 1 ball, no strikes. During this win streak of the Rockies, the shortest any Rocky pitcher has gone is 6 innings as far as starts. That was Billy Swift and had a comfortable lead. Darren Holmes came in and pitched great in relief. 2 balls, no strikes as Hermanson falls behind.
About a 3.73 earned run average for the staff coming into this game, and that's after giving up 11 on opening day.
Jamie takes high, 3-0. Well, it's a long season, but certainly a good start. And a lot of times, confidence will breed more confidence.
You remember, Dave, at the end of spring training, there was a lot of concern.
How about the end of the first 2 games?
Yeah.
Of the regular season.
Right. And Don Baylor was saying, what, do you guys just expect to flip on a switch and just get going? And basically, that's what they did 6 games ago.
Well, a lot of people have watched this game for a long time as Jamie Wright draws a walk. Best advice they give is never get too high when things are going well and too low, but it's tough not to get excited when things are going your way.
Let's give you the answer to our trivia question brought to you by the Colorado Lottery, where the Lotto jackpot tonight was $7 million. National League Rookie of the Year in '77. Well, it was none other than the Hawk, Andre Dawson. That year with Montreal, he had 19 homers and had 65 runs batted in. Started the year with the Denver Bears. Played about 50 games here in Denver and then moved on to Montreal.
Pretty good players passed through Denver in about a 10-year span. It also became a Cincinnati farm club with guys like Barry Larkin here. EY takes the strike. Eric has been aboard 2 out of the 3 times, a walk, a single, and a bounce out. Scored 1 today. 10-4 Rockies in the bottom of the 5th. Out of play, 0-2. Rockies have scored in every inning but the 3rd when Mark Valdez retired them in order.
Well, the good news, folks, is the weather is going to start getting better. Well, it's actually started getting better starting today, and it's supposed to improve tomorrow into the 40s and into the 60s by the middle of next week.
With a good high fastball goes Eric Young, one of the toughest men in the National League to strike out last year. So Hermanson continues to impress.
Let's see from the side how high that one is. Young tried to go up and chase it. That's tough. That's up around the letters.
Ellis has scored 3 times, singled, doubled, reached on a fielder's choice. Jamie Wright, a 1-out runner at first base after a lead walk. 1 ball, no strikes. Burke's missing a couple of games with a bad wrist, but came back with a vengeance on Wednesday against Cincinnati with a couple of home runs. Ellis, chopper, third base side, trouble affair, but it won't roll foul as Andrews pounces on it. We'll give you all the scores in the top and bottom of the 7th inning, but we will tell you that Cincinnati beat Florida today 2-1. Montreal is ahead of St. Louis 8-5. The Astros, Houston is ahead of St. Louis 7-5. The Astros a year ago went 2-11 against the Cardinals. They're 3-1 so far this year. Atlanta and the Cubs 1-1 in the 9th. Greg Maddux is out of there. San Diego and Philadelphia postponed. The Dodgers at Pittsburgh postponed. 5 games wiped out in the American League by weather. 1-1 pitch to Burks. Breaking ball, strike 1-2. Anaheim, Cleveland, Chicago, Detroit, Texas, Baltimore, Oakland, and New York, and Toronto and Milwaukee, all postponed by inclement weather. Minnesota leads Kansas City 10-4 in the 8th, and Seattle beat Boston in 10 innings, 5-1, 4 wins in a row for the Mariners. Jeff Fassero pitched well and won. Burks to center. Pretty good read, though, by Rondell White, and he has it for the 2nd out in the inning. Today, a 2-run homer. He has scored 3 times as he's walked twice. 486. One ball, no strikes.
That's not a soft 486.
No. There haven't been too many loopers in that 486. Segui will play well behind Jamie Wright at first to cut down the hole. 2-0.
Protect his life.
Kevin Ritz, Carlos Perez tomorrow at 1. Hope you'll join us. Walk, pretty good hack, fouled it back 2-1.
It's almost anymore as locked in as he is. When he fouls one off, you're surprised.
This guy's got good stuff. Dustin Hermanson. Larry lays off the high fastball, 3-1. Larry's going to tune up the dial here and see if he can get out in front of one. Unbutton your shirt and have a good rip. Well, you'd usually do that, but not today. Keep the shirt buttoned and have a good rip. He did. Fouled it straight back and out of play. 3-2.
No chance of that one getting into the radio booth today. Those babies have their windows closed. Not like us, Dave. We're tough today.
Don't make them like they used to. Got it. Hermanson dropped the breaking ball on him, and Larry knew it. Rockies lead 1. We are through 5 full. Larry's had a homer today to help the Rockies to it. Yeah, but I think the veteran players know that at Coors Field, even though everything's going very well for him right now, 10-4 is certainly not insurmountable. So Jamie Wright's got to continue to bear down, and the offense has got to keep trying to go. That's one thing you have to do here.
Jamie Wright kind of stumbled just a little bit in that second inning, giving up 3, but he's really settled down pretty well.
Yeah, last inning I thought he pitched much better, even though he gave up the home run to Segui. He seemed to have much better stuff. So he'll go back out in the 6th and see if he can get the Expos. They'll open with Darren Fletcher, their catcher. He'll be followed by F.P. Santangelo and then Shane Andrews. Jamie out of Oklahoma City. Fletcher has singled and bounced out today. Sharp as he'd like to be, but still he's held the Expos down. This should be playable for Dante Bichette in left. And 1 up, 1 down. So he got behind Darren Fletcher. Dante's got the stocking cap on. 1 up, 1 down here in the 6th. Santangelo has knocked in 2 of the 4 Expo runs with a second inning double today. Out of the University of Miami. He was a low-round draft choice. Spent 7 years in the minors. Came on last year as a utility guy, took over for Rondell White in center and did a terrific job while White was recovering from that bruised spleen and kidney. 1 strike to F.P. A strike. Right, got a little measure of revenge, striking out Santangelo the last time up. Two balls and 1 strike. 1 o'clock tomorrow. Back with you on the Rockies television network. Kevin Ritz goes for his 2nd victory of the year. He'll face Carlos Perez, who missed last year with shoulder problems. Left-hander who can provide some interesting antics. This one inside, 3-1. much to report on the out-of-town scoreboard today. Weatherman has been victorious 8 times, 8 postponed. I wonder when the last time 8 Major League games got postponed. 3-2, full count. That might be a Major League record, folks, if they keep such things. It used to be when there was only 16 teams in baseball prior to 1961. That's the maximum games you could have postponed, 8. FP hits one to right center field again. Loops it out there. He'll take a wide turn, but Larry Walker gets it back in. Oh, a one-out runner for the Expos. And while Santangelo rests at first, we'll do our front office news brought to you by Office Depot. Postponements are the story of the day. That'll be scrambling, looking at schedules, trying to figure out when they can make up those games. Darryl Strawberry and Dwight Gooden of the Yankees placed on the DH. DL. Gooden is going to have hernia surgery. Shane Andrews, ground ball foul left side. Andrews is singled in 2 trips. Little looper to right field his last time up. One-out runner for the Expos here in the top of the 6th. Rockies ahead 10-4 on a rather cool day, to say the least, at Coors Field. 1 ball, 1 strike. Yesterday, according to the papers this morning, the city of Denver broke a record for this date in history, or yesterday in history, by 11 degrees. The previous record was a high of 30 degrees. Yesterday, it only got to 19. One strike to Shane Andrews. He's out of New Mexico. 2 balls and a strike. Andrews, a pretty good high school football player, was Expos' #1 draft choice back in 1990. Pitch, 3-1. So he got behind Santangelo, he got behind Fletcher, he got behind Andrews, and that's been a pattern for Jamie quite a bit today. He's dodged some bullets. Seems though when he's gotten behind, he's been able to make a pretty good pitch and maybe get a double play grounder. We'll see if that might work again.
Dave, the Rockies marketing director, Greg Fiesel, came up before the game and said that Andre Agassi and Brooke Shields were in the house today.
This is ripped, but Dante makes a good sliding catch. Nice play by Dante. Looked a little tentative at first, but he grabbed it right off the ground.
I said he wanted to improve his defense, and it's a pretty good play here because this ball is scorched. Andrews gets all of it, and that ball, when it's hit like that, it has a lot of top spin on it, and that ball really dives once it starts to lose some of its steam. And Dante with a very nice sliding catch, and the knee looked good too. But anyway, supposedly Andre Agassi and Brooke Shields are going to stop by sometime. We have not yet seen a Brooke Shields sighting or Andre Agassi sighting either.
See, not tennis weather, is it? No. Bando bounces out to Eric Young, and once again, Jamie Wright walks a bit of a tightrope, but escapes. We're through 5. Yeah, now there's a blanket. Done okay today. I haven't put on the ear flaps yet. I got them with me though.
So that's why you need to wear a headset.
Yeah.
So this handheld stuff.
Got the gloves on now. Long underwear, turtleneck, heavy partner.
I once did a football game. Colorado and Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, where it was probably 40 below wind chill. I mean, it was the coldest day. Even with the windows closed in our booth, we were freezing.
Cat takes inside. I once did one at Provo, Utah. That I recall quite vividly. And I couldn't get a cup of coffee there.
Oh, really?
1 ball and 1 one strike.
Oh, that's right. Caffeine.
Foul back, 1-2.
You don't have any decaf coffee for you?
Nope. Hot apple cider. That's it. 1-2. Count to Galarraga. Andre's got the Rockies going. Knocked in 2 in the first to give them a 2-0 lead. They've never trailed. Swung on and missed as Hermanson blew him down with a heater. So Hermanson has struck out 3. He struck out Eric Young, Larry Walker, and Andres Galarraga.
Well, San Diego and Florida must be pretty deep in pitching to give up on Dustin Hermanson.
Well, San Diego traded him to Florida for Kilby O'Veras, a second baseman. And then Florida traded him to Montreal for Cliff Lloyd. Boy, this kid's got a great arm. He was the #1 draft choice of the Padres, 3rd pick in the country a few years back. Dante not in the hit column, although he's hit a couple of balls pretty well today.
He and Weiss, the only 2 regulars without a hit.
Rockies need to get 10 hits, 3 more runs to match the output of the first 2 home games.
In 3 of the last 4 games, every starter in Don Baylor's lineup has at least 1 hit, including a pitcher. Jamie Wright doesn't have a hit today either.
Dante takes 3-0. Vinny on deck. Rockies 4 in the first, 4 in the second, 2 in the fourth. The Expos 3 in the second. A solo homer by Segui in the 5th. Dante couldn't hold up. 3-1.
What does that high heater look like to a batter coming in? Because you see so many guys want to check, and there's just no chance. I mean, you don't have much time to make this decision. But right there, it looks pretty good, and then you know what's coming up out of the strike zone.
Yeah, the ball up looks big. That's why hitters can't lay off very well. Dante down the right field line. Inside the line for a single, and he'll hold up as Romando gets the ball back in. Dante, a little bit of a defensive swing, but he's in the hit column now, and that leaves only Weiss and Jamie Wright without a hit.
Again, that defensive swing, almost a hitch in that swing, it looked like. Gets it down the right field line.
Quentin McCracken goes into pinch run for Dante Bichette, and he will stay in for defense. Dante gets into the hit column, also drove in 1 with the sacrifice fly. Vinny 2 for 2 and a walk. Home run, single, 3 runs batted in for Castilla today. What would be fun to watch would be to watch Hermanson challenge Vinny with the fastball. Because you got a great fastball pitcher and a great fastball hitter. You'd almost think the advantage would go to Hermanson on a cold day, but maybe not the way Vinny's swinging. Scoring. McCracken will pull it at second, and we'll have to wait for the scoring on that one.
That's an error on the 3rd baseman, I think rightfully so. Andrews looked like he had it all the way, and then I think he took his eye off the ball, Dave, to see if he could get Q doubled up at first base. Ripped by Vinny. And then off the top of the webbing of Andrews.
Yeah, can't dispute that. Another thing, sometimes infielders on a day like this, you don't want to catch the ball in the pocket of your glove, so you kind of try to catch it in the webbing, and that's what happened. Well, great fastball pitcher challenged Vinny, and Vinny turned on it and hit a bullet. Kurt Manwaring has a couple of hits today, 2 for 3. 2 aboard, 1 out. Bottom of the 6th, Rockies with 10 runs and 10 hits. A ball, 1-0 to Kurt.
To emphasize my point about Vinny being one of the most underrated players in the game, I was recently contacted by an auction in Michigan asking if we could send some kind of Rockies paraphernalia to their auction to raise some funds for a charity. And I sent them a ball signed by Vinny and Ellis Burks and Andres Galarraga. This ball's fouled out of play. Of course, the 3 guys who hit 40 or more last year for the Rockies, and they called back to say, well, how would you advertise this particular piece of merchandise? And I said, well, you would advertise it as only the 2nd time in history that's ever happened. They said, what's ever happened? That 3 guys have hit 40 or more home runs. well, who's this Vinny guy on this ball? And I said, that's Vinny Castilla. He hit 30 the year before and 40 last year. Did he hit 40? I said, yeah, he hit 40. They said, oh, excuse us then. They said, I thought it would have been one of the other guys like Walker or Bichette. And I said, no, it was Vinny Castilla.
And he got number 40 in his last at-bat of the season. That was pretty exciting. Vinny had come close on a number of occasions over the last week or so. He was perched at 39 for well over a week. Galarraga had reached the 40 rather early, ended up with 47 to lead the National League in home runs and RBIs with 150. 2 balls, a strike, 1 out. 2 aboard. Manwaring with a count of 2-1. Runners going. Pitch taken. Throw to third. Not in time. Double steal by the Rockies. So McCracken going and Vinny going.
In other parks, that might be construed as perhaps rubbing a double steal with a 6-run lead, but not here. I think all managers would subscribe to the theory that you just got to keep pouring it on here. You cannot sit back and just sit on a lead, not at Coors Field.
Well, case in point was the Dodgers and the Rockies last year. Dodgers were ahead 13-0 in the 8th inning. And before it was over, Dodger fans were squirming. Manwaring takes a strike, 3-2. 13-10 was the final, and the Rockies had the tying run at the plate in the 9th inning.
Everybody remembers that game last year against San Diego. After the rain delay, the Rockies came out and came from way down to win that game against the Padres.
Padres were leading 9-2 in the 7th. The Rockies put an 11 spot up in the 7th. Vinny's grand slam. Base hit by Manwaring. That'll score 1 for sure, and Vinny is being held up. So it's 11-4 as Manwaring gets his 3rd hit of the day. In to score comes Quentin McCracken. Vinny stops at 3rd. And Kurt Manwaring has his 3rd hit of the afternoon.
And Dave Veers gets up for the Expos in their bullpen. They've already used 3 pitchers today.
Walt Weiss reached on an error, struck out, and bounced out on a good play by Lansing. Gets a strike in. 0-1. Well, last year at Coors Field, an average of 15 runs a game. We're right at it today, 11-4. Weiss tried to slap it to left. Count is 0-2. Kevin Ritz, Carlos Perez tomorrow at 1. Hope you can join us out here at Coors Field. If not, we'll be here with you on the Rockies Television Network. And don't forget about Monday. It's a makeup game of the game lost yesterday. The Rockies and Expos will play at 3:05. Out of play by Weiss, and the count stays at 1-2. Nose guard up. A little cooler here is in Oaxaca, Mexico, where Vinny is from. Weiss, a little blooper, and that's going to get in. Vinny scores, and Manwaring will hold up. So every Rocky, except for the pitcher, is in the hit column. Although Walt's hands may have taken a beating on that one. 12-4.
Broken bat single for Walt Weiss. And all of a sudden, Dustin Hermanson giving up some hits. Bichette started it off with that single down the right field line. Then the error as Castilla scorched the ball to the 3rd baseman Andrews. And back-to-back Manwaring and Weiss.
Yeah, let's see if Jamie maybe is bunting. I don't know. Again, it's tough to figure out at Coors what's proper baseball etiquette and what isn't. Outside is 1 ball, no strikes. first came to the Rockies that he was just looked lost at the plate. But it seems though the more you get a chance to hit, work at it. Jamie takes outside. Pitchers at home get a chance to hit every day. And batting coach Clint Hurdle, Gene Glenn sometimes work with those pitchers. Ritz is a good example of a guy who really improved.
Who's the best hitting pitcher you ever saw? Earl Wilson was pretty good.
Yeah, it was I mean,
Bob Gibson.
Yeah, Gibson's the last guy to hit 300 and win 20 games in a year. Drysdale hit 37 homers in his career, and Wes Farrell hit 38. Jamie swings and misses. Of the current crop, I'd say Bollinger. Yeah, Bollinger's a good hitter, but he hasn't been around much. And FP Santangelo, who must feel like he's on a roller coaster, goes back to right field where he began the game. And if you're keeping book with us, put Orsulak in the 5 spot, and then put Beers hitting 9th because Amanda would come in the game, made the last out.
Curtis Liskanek, as Dave mentioned, off the disabled list, and having a conversation with FP, saying, hey, good to see you back over here again.
Yeah. Could have said I missed you. Well, Bando wouldn't talk to me. Bando's from Panama. He says, FP, you're from Miami. I know you can speak my language. Eric Young swings and misses. Eric has walked, singled, bounced out, and struck out. Scored a run today. Van Waring at second. Weiss at first. Nice stop by Darren Fletcher. 1-1. Rockies play the Expos tomorrow and then the makeup game on Monday. Go to Chicago for 2 games with the Cubs on Tuesday. And guess what? Atlanta beat the Cubs 2-1. The Cubbies are 0-9. 0-9.
Their worst start ever.
Well, they knew when they started the season they had 11 in a row against Florida and Atlanta, considered 2 of the better teams in baseball. And they knew it would be a rough road, but I don't think they knew it was going to be this rough.
No.
That's not good.
There's Mark Grace on the disabled list. The rest of the lineup hitting just over $2.
Eric Young to right. Santangelo started in, backs up, and grabs it for the 3rd out. Rockies put another 2 spot up. We go to the 7th inning from Coors. It's 12-4 Colorado. In the house, and a man who, in addition to playing golf very well, used to be a member of the John Brown University tennis team. My partner, Dave Armstrong. You talk about tennis. I'm going to go get warm.
All right. I never had to face anyone close to the ability of Andre Agassi, who just came off a Sterling Davis Cup win. Mark Grzelcyk will lead off with the Expos in the 7th. He'll be followed by Lansing and White. Boy, you talk about getting sawed off. Grzelcyk half the bat near shortstop, and the throw pulls Galarraga off the bat. Vinny Castilla keeping one eye on the bat and one eye on the ball, and the throw wide of the target at first base. Let's take another look. That inside pitch. Look at that. He's left with the handle in his hand. Vinny with a nice play to make the catch, but he just cannot make the throw. And they rule that a hit. An infield single for Grzelcyk. Rockies still with just 5 errors on the year. None today. Now Lansing down too low. Jamie Wright has gone the whole way. Pitching now in the 7th inning. And now they've switched the play and given an error to Vinny Castilla, and taken the infield single away from Grzelcyk. So Grzelcyk saying, oh, thanks a lot. I'm getting just around 200 and thought I had an infield single, and they took that away. Vinny with his 2nd error of the year. 2-0 the count to Lansing. 12-4 in favor of the Rockies. The Rockies scored 4 in the 1st. And the Expos scored 3 in the 2nd to get it back to within 1. Then the Rockies exploded for 4 more in the 2nd inning. Home runs from Walker and Castilla, each 2-run homers. The Rockies have never looked back. Now John Burke, who has not gotten much work in this year, up and warming up in the Rockies bullpen. Hit on the ground past Castilla this time into the corner. Here comes Burks, who moved over to left field. The throw comes into third. Grzelcyk there easily. And moving to second, Mike Lansing with the double. So runners at second and third, nobody out, and Rondell White the batter. White, who is 0 for 3 today. White started the year with a 6-game hitting streak. Went 0 for 3 in the opening game of this road trip for the Expos. And 0 for 3 today. Make it 0 for 4. The throw will go to first. A run scores, an RBI for White as Grzelcyk puts the 5th run on the board for the Expos. 12-5 in favor of the Rockies. Burks, you saw make the play down the line in left field. He moves from center to left. When Bichette came out of the game, Quentin McCracken, who came in to pinch run for Dante, stays in the game in center field. That'll bring up David Segui, who has a home run, 3 for 3 today. High fly ball deep left center field. Back goes Burks. The wind pushing the ball back toward him. It'll be a sacrifice fly RBI for Segui, as scoring easily from third is Mike Lansing. I'll catch all the Rockies highlights as well as the scores from around the league with Jim Conrad and Scott Hastings on Sports Tonight at 9:45, directly following the Channel 2 News. Joe Orsulak now batting for the first time today, with 2 out and nobody on. Our score, the Rockies with a 6-run cushion. Orsulak looks at a sinker down low, ball 1. Orsulak off to a very rough start, hitting just 100. Ripped down the line. That's a fair ball by the Cat. Walker will play it off that little cushion. Oh, and he had a play at second base until he dropped the ball. Larry Walker came up ready to fire. The ball slipped out of his hand. Larry plays this carom perfectly off of one of those little nooks and crannies here at Coors Field. And then as he picks up the ball, he just simply dropped it. He had a real shot, too, at Orsulak going into second base. They ruled that one a double all the way for Joe Orsulak. And he is at second with 2 outs, and Darren Fletcher the batter. Fletcher, you see what he has done today. To a pretty good start with the bat, Darren Fletcher. Chris Widger, their normal everyday catcher, not off to such a good start. Another good play, Eric Young. Backhands the ball and a strong throw to first, and that avoids any further damage. The first 2
Los Angeles postponed because of inclement weather. San Francisco and New York, same deal in New York. Eastern Seaboard taking a beating. Houston beat St. Louis 7-5. Astros off to a pretty good start with a tough schedule in the early going. Atlanta beat the Cubs 2-1. Terry Mulholland pitched very well, but Bob Patterson took the loss as the Braves got a run in the start in the top of the ninth. Padres and Phillies, that one scheduled for 5 p.m. has already been postponed as well.
To the bottom of the 7th we go. Rockies leading by 6. Ellis Burks the batter. He's had a good day. 2 for 4. He scored 3 times. He'll be followed by the man, Larry Walker, and then Andre Scalaraga. So Burke's his average right now as he stands at the plate, as you see, an even 200. That was under 100 there for a moment, and then Burke's closed out the game on Wednesday with back-to-back home runs. Burke's saying he's going to try to check or not check his swing. He said that's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, when you see fastball and you think it's fastball, all of a sudden it becomes slider. That's when you have problems.
2-1 the count. Dave Veers in pitching for the Expos, the fourth pitcher used by Felipe Alou today. He got the sinker over at the knees to even the count at 2-2. The Rockies with 2 more games at home, and then, as Dave said, off to Chicago to take on the Cubs, who lost again today and are 0-9. Tomorrow it's Kevin Ritz on the mound for the Rockies against the colorful one, Carlos Perez. Ripped into the corner in left field. Orsulak, though, coming over to make a nice play. Joe Orsulak had Burks played rather deeply in left field and makes the catch.
Well, this could have had a sensational day. He hit 2 line drives his last 2 at-bats, but one of them had Rondell White in center, and this one had Orsulak in left.
That brings up Larry Walker. 7 home runs for Walk on the year now, including 1 today. Walk 1 for 2 officially. He has walked twice, scored 3 times. He has now scored 14 runs this year, and he has 15 runs batted in. Good change. 7 home runs in 9 games today. What does that figure out for 162 game schedule? About 140 home runs?
Something like that.
Good fastball. Larry behind in the count, 1-2. Veers has fooled Larry twice in a row. Got a piece of that one to stay alive, following it on the screen.
Again, the pattern on Larry, they're trying to pound him in. Pretty good pitch by Veers there, and Larry was able to hack it away foul.
I see in your column today in the Rocky Mountain News, you say if Larry Walker stays healthy, he could hit 50 home runs this year. Good prediction.
Well, I mean, he's got that kind of power. I mean, there's no question about it, and the Rockies figured to see a lot of right-handed pitching this year because they're a very right-handed dominant lineup.
2-2 the count. Way up high. Can you give us a sneak preview of what's up next week?
I don't know. I don't think it's been written yet. I don't think we've talked about it yet.
I know what I was going to ask you. The 3-2 pitch down low, ball 4. How about Turner Field? You had a chance to see it last Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice layout. I don't think it compares to, Coors Field, but one of the things they eventually expect to be able to see the Atlanta skyline when they tear down Fulton County Stadium, but that's on hold right now because there's a bill in the Georgia legislature to save Fulton County Stadium for soccer and other professional soccer and other events. So I don't know. The only knock on it right now at Turner Field is the lighting. It's very poor out in the outfield when you look back in, and then when you do look up into the lights, they've got to make a lot of adjustments.
Hit sharply. Andrews has got this one to second for 1 on the relay in time. Galarraga hit it on the button, but right at Andrews, who turns in the inning-ending double play. 7 in the books, 12-6 in favor. Burke has not worked all that much this year. In fact, this is just his 2nd game. He worked on opening day in Cincinnati and hasn't worked since. Fly ball lifted into center field. McCracken has this one in his sights and now in his glove. 1 gone. In that opener, Burke gave up 2 runs on 2 hits and he walked 2. Well, the bullpen has been unbelievable during this stretch. In the last 7 games, the relief corps, in addition to that minuscule ERA of .56 they've turned in, they have not allowed any inherited runners to score, and there have been 8 of them. Burke starts here with the fresh slate in the 8th inning.
Doug Strange has moved out into the on-deck circle as the pitcher spot is due up next.
Shane Andrews is swinging a miss. Quickly 2 strikes on him.
Jamie Wright's final line. 100 pitches thrown, 43 balls, 57 strikes.
He gave up 6 runs, 5 earned, 11 hits. So Jamie Wright on target to pick up his 2nd win of the year. And if the Rockies go on to win this game, it would be the 7th consecutive win for a starter. Burke tried to overthrow that one, and it's 2-2. Just 5 outs to go and a 6-run lead.
It's a good start.
Yeah.
This guy is going to be important to the Rockies this year. Occasionally battles control problems, but he's got a terrific arm.
Got him looking there. Burke throws Andrews. And on a frigid day, it might not be that hard to do, but Andrews caught looking. 2 gone in the 8th.
Fastball. Charlie Williams said it's got the inside corner. That ball had good movement on it.
Speed of the pitch clock, that one at 90. And now Doug Strange. Strange 1 for 3. Hasn't played all that much for the Expos so far this year. Strange last year played in Seattle. He's a utility player for the Mariners. And he hit .235. He's only a career .236 hitter.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I'm sorry.
It's just only stuff.
Okay, I should say Doug Strange has had a hefty .236 over his career.
One more hit every 10 at-bats, he'd be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, there goes part of the bat, and the ball goes back on the screen. To get some new lumber.
Just that every time I hit, I looked out on the field, it looked like there was about 23 guys on defense. I suspect when guys like Tony Gwynn and Larry Walker, when he's in this hot zone right now, it feels like it's just the pitcher and he, and if he hits it, it's going to be a hit.
A lot of green grass out there for those guys.
Yeah. Larry's case up in Montreal, a lot of green AstroTurf.
Yes. I think Larry, lately, all he's been looking at are the seats, the bleachers, beyond the wall. 7 home runs for a walk.
He's got that trot down pretty good.
Yeah, he does. I think the new look hats, don't you?
Yeah.
Hey, whatever. Just to stay warm, fellas.
We're going to make Chico our player of the game today for keeping the guys warm?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. Kept us warm with these parkas.
That's right.
Ooh, that one just missed, just high, 2-2.
There's Dan McGinn. Chico, you got shorts on, Chico?
Does he have shorts?
Pull out a little.
Come on.
Oh,
He does.
Cheek.
He's been in that sauna. 3-2 now to Strange.
You know, Chico's from Minnesota, so I guess this would be a warm day for him.
Little flare over the third baseman Castilla, but foul. Do 3-2 over again. On a day when the Rockies only using 2 pitchers, the Expos in the 8th will be using their 5th. Strange have to go get some more lumber. It's 2 broken bats and 1 at bat. It's not so strange on a cold day.
Take it home and put it in your new fireplace.
Yeah. 3-2, 2 outs, nobody on for the Expos in the 8th.
Out there in your palace in San Carroll Valley.
And Gas Lawrence. You're messing with that stuff. Down the line and fair. Identical play. This time Larry hangs onto the ball and Strange says, no way am I going to test to the arm of Larry Walker.
I've seen that one. Nice play by Larry.
It was a carbon copy of Orsulak. He put it in the exact same spot. This time Walker picked it up cleanly.
the angle. He said, come here, ball. Ooh, I'm not going to make that mistake again.
He's got an arm, doesn't he? Man.
5-tool player.
Yep.
Hit for power. Great fielder, great arm, and can run.
Grzelanic hits it to Vinny Castilla. Grez today, 0 for 5, folks. His average, when you look in the papers tomorrow, be about have been sold today. Madeline's Ice Cream Shop also probably closed its doors a few innings ago.
Rockies baseball is brought to you by U.S. West. Life's better here.
Yes, it is. Well, a sellout crowd today. About half of them showed up on a frigid day, and now Lee Smith will close things out for Montreal. Rockies leading it by a half dozen. The Rockies have led throughout. Smith is not giving up a run yet this year. Somebody did some yeoman's work, Dave, in figuring out that Lee Smith has now saved a game for 100 different pitchers. That took some research.
Yeah. Well, I remember when Nolan Ryan was getting near the end of his career, his 714 strikeouts. They listed everybody. I made the list. One. Because I didn't face him very often.
So Lee Smith to face Quentin McCracken, who came on to pinch run for Dante Bichette after Bichette singled in the 6th inning. Q stayed in to play center field. And he looks at a strike. Curtis Leskanic, fresh off the DL with the short sleeves. Either he's going to come in to pitch the 9th, or he's just getting some work in. I would assume on a frigid day like today, he's not just getting some work in. He wants to come into the game. 6-run lead for the Rockies. Flair hit out to center field. Rondell White puts it in his glove. One gone. Getting their work in on days like today, Dave. If they are, it's inside. You want to pull any muscles on a day like today. Now, Vinny Castilla, he's 2 for 3 today. A 2-run homer. He has scored 3 times. He has 2 runs batted in.
Well, I think surprisingly, under the conditions, Grzelanic made 2 errors on 1 play, but I think overall the quality of play has been good today.
I shortchanged him. He has 3 runs batted in. Got an RBI single in the 4th.
Manwaring and Vinny on the spot here. Whoever has the best at bat here is going to win player of the game if the Rockies hold on to win this one, which we assume they will. But we've got another half inning to play. Kurt's got 3 hits, and Vinny's got 2 with 3 RBIs.
Walked 3 times with a home run.
It's a mundane day for Larry. 3 runs scored, a homer, 3 walks, on base 4 out of 5 times. We've come to expect so much, and you have delivered.
Yes, he has.
Good on the sunflower seeds today, too. Good distance on the spinning of the sunflower seeds.
3-0 now to Vinny. If you just joined us, the Rockies blew this one open early and have been coasting. Atlanta beat the Cubs today at Wrigley 2-1. The Cubs are now 0-9. Holy cow.
I'd have to look it up, but it seems like the Rockies probably in 2 games this year have scored more runs than the Cubs have all year. But the Cubs have been facing 2 great pitching staffs of Florida and Atlanta. If their best hitter, Mark Grace, DL, and a lot of other guys are really scuffling. Sean Dutson, 074. Sanford's been struggling. Sosa.
38 runs for the Rockies, Dave, on this homestand alone. These 3 games.
The Rockies are averaging close to 9 runs a game, home and away. Win the day, averaging 8.2. I haven't done the calculations yet, but this is 78 runs, and this is 9th game.
Yep. Up the middle, Lansing's got it. And 2 gone in the 8th. Rockies with 2 more home runs today have now hit 22 on the year, on pace to hit about 400. Suffice it to say, folks, it's been a great start for Don Baylor's club. They will move, most likely, barring any unforeseen circumstances in that ninth inning, to 7-2 on the year with their 7th straight win. They're going to be just one shy of a team record 8 straight wins they set last year. Now Manwaring. Manwaring, 3 hits today, 2 runs batted in. Manwaring's average now at 353. I doubt any time in his career he's ever hit 353.
Well, at the end of the year he hasn't.
No, never. Line drive, base hit. There's your player of the game.
Manwaring came through to erase any doubt. I wonder how many 4-hit games Kurt's had. But he had that whole bunch. I know one thing. I played 8 years in the major leagues and had none. Never a 4-hit game, and Manwaring has just done it.
He does have a gold glove, but I'll bet you he doesn't have a 4-hit game. Look that up.
I'd get my press guide out, too, except my fingers are too cold to turn the pages.
I'll let you read mine while I'm watching Walt Weiss hit. Weiss, he is 1 for 4 today, an RBI single his last time up. So every regular again with a hit today, with the exception of the pitcher's spot.
Look at we short-shirted Kurt. It's the 8th time he's had 4 hits.
Whoa! Bobbled by Grzelcyk, another error on him. That's his 3rd of the game, the 4th error by the Expos today.
I'll tell you what, 0 for 5 and 3 errors is not a good afternoon for Mark Grzelcyk, who really appears to be fighting himself right now.
How much of it do you think, Dave, goes back to the contract negotiations with Grzelcyk in the spring when the Expos, I can't believe it, but they offered him a split contract after he reached the All-Star game a year ago?
Well, I'm sure he's upset about it, but, you know, I think the type of kid he is, he probably said, I'm going to show you, but he's gotten off to a bad start this year. John Vanderwall is coming on to pinch hit. It's about the only thing the Rockies haven't done. Their top 2 pinch hitters, Vanderwall and Darnell Coles, looking for hits.
But the other bench guys, boy, did they come through. Jason Bates, Jeff Reed, Quentin McCracken, those 3 guys really came through when Burks and Weiss and Manwaring were on the shelf. So Manwaring has done it a lot in his career, 4 hits in 1 game. First time he's done it as a Rocky. 0-1 the count to Vanderwall. Vanderwall 0 for 3 to start the year. Liskanek still warming in the bullpen. He'll come in to pitch the 9th. John Burke pitched 1 inning, gave up just 1 hit. Down too low, good stop by Fletcher. Vanderwall, of course, had the highlight last year in St. Louis with that game-winning home run off Dennis Eckersley. 2 years ago, the best pinch hitter in the game. Inside, 2-1. First and second, 2 outs, 8th inning. 12-6 Rockies.
Lee Smith used to be the kind of guy that was, here it comes, guys, hit it. But as Lee has gotten older, lost a little steam off the fastball, he's learned to spot his slider, and he's come up with a split finger pitch. And now when he utilizes his fastball after they've seen the off-speed stuff, it looks like it still has the old velocity. But he's a guy who's really made great adjustments throughout his career.
One thing he's always been, Dave, is pretty good with control, despite the fact that he's been a power pitcher much of his career. Fouled off on the screen by Vanderwall, and it's 2-2.
Randy saying, man, I've been waiting for that pitch for a week. Fouled it back. That's what happens when you pinch hit.
Yeah.
You miss a few games because of weather.
That is a special art to be a good pinch hitter.
Not too many of them have great back-to-back years. I mean, John had a good year last year, but coming off that 28 pinch hit record-setting year in '95. I remember Gates Brown, great pinch hitter with Detroit. One year he hit about 460, and the next year he hit about $1.60. And the following year he had another great year.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Vanderwall. That'll do it for the Rockies. In the 8th, they strand 2. We go to the 9th. The first 2 years, you can see why he was fatigued. He appeared in 146 games, including 76 in 95, and last year his season ended early. And then surgery in the offseason. Now coming back, he said he pitched well in Salem and pitched in back-to-back days.
Curtis was the main guy for the Rockies the last part of that 95 season when they won the wild card. He led the majors that year in strikeouts by a relief pitcher, but it started to take some toll last year as he had to have surgery on both his shoulder and elbow after the season, and I'm sure Don Baylor's watching him closely today.
First pitch to Lansing is up high and tight, ball 1. You know, the Rocky pitchers today have walked just 1.
Keep it up, guys. That's 14 in the last 7 games. 2 a game. They're going to win a lot of ball games.
That's for sure. So Jamie Wright, he's going to go to 2-0 with the win today. 7 straight wins by the starters. Kevin Ritz will pitch tomorrow for the Rockies. Again, we'll be broadcasting right here on the Rockies television network. Carlos Perez, the colorful one for the Expos. That one got away from Leskanic. It's 3-1. Bill Swift will go. You saw Swifty. He'll be pitching on Monday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have tickets for Friday's game, they're good for Monday. Jeff Juden, who has a minuscule ERA, will be pitching for Montreal. And then Thompson and Bailey will go Tuesday and Wednesday against the Cubs. High fly ball, deep left field. Burke's going over into the corner. That's a foul ball and out of play. 3 balls, 2 strikes now to Lansing.
Talked about the Expos tomorrow and Monday, and then into shooting
right now. They probably are saying bring them on. The 3-2 pitch to Lansing. He got a piece of it to stay alive. That was a good
slider happy last year.
Again, the 3-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He got him with a high heat. Encouraging. Everybody smiling. The pitchers and the hitters, the defender.
Yeah, that's not good when the teams play better.
Well, give us credit, but just don't blame us today. Well, that one, if it stays fair, that one's heading and almost the concourse. A home run for Rondell White, his 3rd of the year. A solo home run just inside the foul pole.
93-mile-an-hour fastball is okay, but when you're behind and a guy is looking fastball, you get it up in his eye. Boom.
I'm going to bring up David Segui, who's had a big day for Montreal. 3 for 3. And that one got out of this there. This is one of the longer road trips for the Expos this year. 14 days. Through there, 3-1. 4 of them to the Rockies. Ball 4. Try to extend their game-winning streak to 8. That one hit the line and all the way into the corner where Walker has to try to track it down. A double for Orsulak, his 2nd of the game. Segui stops. Segui stopping at 3rd. There's the fastball for a strike to Fletcher. Fletcher today, 1 for 4. To Segui and a double by Orsulak. This one hit high in the sky. Walker waiting for it to come down. Here comes a throw to the plate, and it will be not in time. Segui scoring from 3rd. F.P. Santangelo, the batter, 2 for 4 today. Rockies with a 4-run lead and just 1 out to go.
timeout. DePoto will come on now. Second trip to the mound. Leskanic will have to exit stage right. Shane Andrews, the batter, will be facing Jerry DePoto. With 2 runners, it will be Shane Andrews.
Chris Widger is moved to the on-deck circle. He is one of 2 players that Felipe Alou has left on his bench, along with Andy Stankiewicz.
Widger with more power, and that's what Felipe would most likely want to have. Right now, though, a 4-run lead for the Rockies with 2 outs in the 9th inning. Andrews with 2 home runs this year, but today 1 for 4. So DePoto set to go to work. DePoto roughed up in the opener in Cincinnati. Since then, he has inherited 4 runners, none of whom have scored. Jerry worked Wednesday, struck out Barry Larkin. Ball 1. Has been ineffective and injured for the Mets so far this year. Moments in the 9th inning, but DePoto closes it out to get the save. The win goes to Jamie Wright, and the Rockies have been impressive. 12 more runs scored by the Rockies offense today as they win their 7th straight to improve their record to 7-2 on the year. Dave and I will come back. We'll wrap things up in just a moment.